Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox and Mikey McNuggets. I'm Adam the Bull. We've got Anthony and Steve on the other side of the glass, and a lot to get to on a big Tuesday show. We'll get to plenty of Browns talk later. The Cavs getting called out by a young player on their team, and both Aditi Kinkhabwala celebrating her birthday. You think she'll admit how old she is?
I texted her happy 28th.
You gonna ask her?
So
I am.
That's rude.
Is it rude?
To ask
She's
a
my
woman,
friend.
To ask a woman in front of everybody else?
We'll see. I'll see. Maybe I won't ask her. Maybe it is rude. I don't know.
Do you
I don't want to
already
get
know the answer?
I don't want Shador Sanders calling me up saying it's rude. That's a rude question. Now I guess that would be a real rude question, as opposed to setting you up with the alley-oop.
people were very mad at you about that yesterday, by the way.
You know what? Here's the thing. I don't really care because as long as I can be honest with myself and know that I'm coming from a place where I don't pick a side and I call it like I see it, then I can live with however it has to be, because it was an absolute layup question. It was not a rude question, and it was just silly. And he made the big story of it. But we'll move on another day. What did you just say, Anthony, before?
I was just wondering if you already knew the answer of her birthday.
Oh, no, I don't know how old she is. I won't ask her. It was, speaking of birthdays, I don't got anything.
Do you want to talk some Buckeyes?
I said, I will, but I was like, in my mind, I'm like, come up with something funny. As I'm saying, speaking of birthdays, I assumed I would come up with something funny to say.
Yeah.
Boom. I had nothing. Anyway, let's talk about, go ahead.
Nothing.
Bust my balls? That's
I was going to
fine.
bust your balls, and I decided to let it go.
Do it. I don't mind it. All right, but Buckeyes win. They end their losing skid. What was it, 4 years in a row? 4 years in a row. And since, I remember after Ohio State lost to Michigan last year, I went on a huge tirade about how Ryan Day sucks. Fire him. He's terrible. Blah 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 blah.
Hasn't lost since.
And he's what? Since then, they won the Big Ten championship, 3 games in the playoffs, 16 straight wins.
Did not win the Big Ten championship.
Oh, that's right. They didn't play. So it's 15 straight wins. Right, 15 straight, and then hopefully this week it'll be 16 against Indiana. What'd you think about the Buckeyes win?
I loved their attitude. I love that they went up there and just took care of business. You know what I mean? It wasn't a perfect start to the game, obviously, with them scoring first and the interception, which led to more points. It's like, honestly, man, I felt like Michigan was going to win the game. Middle of the first quarter, I'm a little bit nervous because I'm thinking, man, Buckeyes have waited all this time to have this moment, and then they go up there, and I thought they were just going to crap down their leg again, and they didn't. The defense continues to just be so good. They bend, but they don't break. It's tough to score touchdowns on Ohio State's defense. Matt Patricia's done a phenomenal job with this defense. You think about really what they have this year. I mean, they have a revamped front seven. I think the secondary is a little bit better than it was last year, but overall, I mean, last year's defense may have been more talented overall, especially up front. But man, Patricia's doing a heck of a job with this defense, and Ryan Day just had confidence. I love the way Ohio State handled themselves after the game.
How embarrassing was that Michigan State? That was so lame.
It was. There were a million things that made Michigan look very lame in this occasion.
Yeah.
And obviously it's better because Ohio State won the game and how they won the game and all that stuff. But overall, no, it was great. It was fun. Love a snow game. Not like a blizzard.
Right.
No, it was
just
the perfect amount
for the
of snow.
aesthetics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It looked like a old school Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan. Great. I mean, the classic uniforms were worn in this game.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Matt Patricia and that Buckeyes defense is the single best unit in college football, and it's not close.
Yeah.
There's not another offense, defense, special teams in college football that comes even anywhere in the same vicinity as how good that Buckeyes defense is. And outside of the first play of the game for Michigan, that first long run by Marshall, they put up like 48 yards of offense the rest of the game. They had one pass play. One pass play that resulted in anything. It was that third down shot.
Their quarterback's a freshman, right?
Yeah, true freshman.
He was the best quarterback in the country.
And there's no more disrespectful acceptance penalty than late in the game when it was 2nd and 5 and Michigan got held for holding. And Ryan Day was like, nah, we'll take 3rd and 5 over 2nd and 15 because there's not a chance in hell you guys are going to convert a 3rd and 5. And guess what? They did not convert. They punted the ball back. It was just an absolute belt-to-ass
the first
situation.
team since, I can't remember how long, I can't remember what
it was the 75 Florida Gators.
To give them 16 or less points.
Yep, in the first 12 games. Yep.
I mean, that's 50 years. That is nuts. Only Steve and I were born the last time that happened. And now their toughest test, obviously, at least for the defense, with this Indiana team.
Indiana's good.
They're good.
Indiana's
They're really good.
Legit good team.
But here's the thing. Like I do think that Ohio State, this team, and Sayin and their offense, like you put them on that fast track inside, no elements.
Right.
Dude, we're built for that. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
if I'm Indiana, I would have rather played in the snow.
Well, without a doubt.
You know, against this Ohio State team.
Yeah. I wonder though, like, I mean, the only way it's close is if, I mean, Indiana's going to be able to keep up. Got to be able to keep up because Ohio State's going to score. Right? How good is Indiana's defense?
Better than last year.
It's pretty good.
They're pretty good.
I mean, they held Oregon
right.
to what, 17 points?
That's what I was telling you on the podcast earlier. I watched that game, and every time you thought Oregon was going to come back, like, oh, you know, whatever, Indiana's got a 3-point lead or whatever, and then no, they just shut the door on the Ducks in Austin Stadium.
In
Eugene.
By the way, a lot of fans are going to judge whether or not the Browns should draft, if they have the opportunity, to draft Mendoza based solely on this game.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, you're playing against like an NFL-style defense with NFL-caliber players, and you want to see this quarterback, if you think that he's going to be a good NFL prospect, you want to see him ball out against a really good defense. And so, like I wouldn't put all my stock into just this one game, but it's going to, I think, go a long way for where Mendoza gets drafted. He'll still probably be the number 1 pick or the number 1 quarterback off the board, I'm guessing. But I'll say this: the winner of this game is going to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, no doubt.
You called it last week.
I said plus 500 on Julian Sayin right now. If you think they're going to beat Michigan and Indiana, take it. And by the way, the odds now on Julian Sayin to win went from 500.
It's like plus 150.
Plus 140.
140, yeah.
Yeah, they're co-favorites. The winner of the game
is going to win the Heisman.
Is there a scenario where one guy could outplay the other guy by a lot and lose the game? Probably not likely.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say
Mendoza could outplay Sayin, and Indiana can still lose.
But not by a lot.
If Sayin, if
you think so?
If Bo Jackson goes crazy again, they get it.
Yeah, but if Mendoza plays,
it's unlikely. But you asked, could it happen? Yeah, I don't see any world where Sayin outplays Mendoza and Ohio State loses.
Right, but
I mean, put it this way: I'd rather be holding the Julian Sayin ticket because Julian Sayin doesn't have to play against Ohio State's defense.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway, all right, we'll move off of that, and later in the week we'll get into the matchup with Indiana. But let's switch gears to the Browns now.
Yeah, guys, before we get to the Browns, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not watching the game, you're reacting in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, and every highlight moment. Live spreads, money lines adjust super simply. Player props update so you can keep up with the heat-up guys. And right now, you can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. So just if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, game moves fast, and so can you.
All right, Mike, you were talking with Sean King off the air yesterday. Sean on this week?
No, he's not, which is why he called me and said, hey, can you get me on this week? We had 2 guests every day, so we just couldn't fit him in. He said, all right, I got a topic for you then. I want you to pitch this to the show. And I didn't know I was going to be on the panel today, so I'm out here. But Sean said the Browns need to make a decision as an organization. What is their goal for the next 5 games? Is it to try and win football games, or is it to try and figure out if Shedeur Sanders and/or Dylan Gabriel, and Sean said it's most likely Shedeur, but one of those 2 guys could be your quarterback of the future? Because you look at the last 2 game plans they've put together against both the Raiders and the 49ers. And he did leave the caveat that weather played a big factor in the game plan against the 49ers. So little less that, more for the Raiders game. They're calling it incredibly conservative. And they're not letting Shedeur, and even going back to the games where Dylan was the quarterback, they're putting guardrails, as Jason likes to say, on what they're asking the quarterback to do, making simple reads. They're throwing a bunch of screen passes behind the line of scrimmage to the point where it's very difficult to make a true evaluation of whether either of those two could be the long-term answer at quarterback, and you're going to have a high draft pick one way or another, and there's a decent chance, if not a very good chance, they use that high draft pick on a quarterback. So Sean asks,
I'm not so sure about that because I don't know that they're going to end up picking high enough to get one of the quarterbacks, but go ahead.
Fair. Yeah. The point is there's a chance that you need to take a quarterback.
Maybe they trade up.
Trade up, whatever. They do have the 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
So,
that, unfortunately.
So Sean asked, what do you think is the right path the Browns should take over these next 5 games? Is it try and win some of these games down the stretch, and sometimes that may be running the ball more, playing more conservatively, keeping those guardrails on the quarterback, or letting Shedeur and/or Dillon let it rip, put them in some situations where they're going to have to figure out things on the fly to try and make that ultimate determination or whether or not either of those two could be the QB1 of the future?
Well, I mean, I don't think that it's like black and white. You know, I think there's a certain little gray area to this conversation because, like, for Shedeur to have success, he needs to have a running game. Mm-hmm. So you can't just flip the script and say we're just going to go like pass heavy,
air raid, Mike Leach.
to try and figure out if Shedeur is any good. If the defense knows you're going to throw and they're just trying to basically figure out if Shedeur is any good, well, they're just going to tee off on the guy. So that's not fair to him. There's got to be a balance for the Browns to find out if Shedeur can make some big time plays without totally abandoning the running game. Like, I don't know. Like if that game on Sunday, if the special teams played differently, just adequately, I think Shedeur has a chance to win the game. I think the Browns have a chance to win the game, and Shedeur would have made more plays. He threw for 150 and the 1 touchdown, I know, but I think he probably throws for 225 and maybe another touchdown. He didn't get to touch the ball in the second half. So I don't know that I love the question because it's not just, well, we're just going to do this. Like if you decide Shedeur's going to just throw a ton, you have to run the ball. They have to be able to run the ball for Shedeur to have any success.
Right, but
any rookie quarterback.
I think this game was more extreme because of the weather conditions, and that's why they ran the ball a lot. And no coach is ever gonna no coach is gonna give up the chance to win to maybe get a better read on the quarterback. It's just not realistic. But I think you have to let him know more or do more because you have to have some answers. And let's face it, in your last 5 games, you're playing three of the 5 games against teams that are scoring a lot of points in Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Chicago. Now, Tennessee stinks.
Yep.
And the Steelers are not playing well, but if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, they could still score. But in most of those games, if your game plan is to run the ball 2/3 of the time, they're going to win one more game. So the current game plan is not going to be enough to get them wins anyway. So, and it's not, do you choose to develop Shedeur or see what you got in Shedeur or try to win? It's not like you can only do one or the other. It's that what's the first priority? And I do think you can make Shedeur a priority and still be trying to win. I don't think you have to do one without the other because, again, if you don't let him do more, they're not going to win any games besides Tennessee. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to just run the ball. As good as their defense is, I don't think you're going to be able to just run the ball and win games. Now, maybe against Cincinnati because their defense is so bad that you can
play better on Thursday night.
But yeah, they've actually played better the last 2 games defensively. We'll see. I'm not buying that they're really that much better. Maybe they got a little juice from Joe Burrow coming back, but probably they're going to have to score. I mean, and that's obviously it's going to be tough if you're just running the ball all the time.
Yeah, but remember, the Browns have the best defense in football.
Yeah, right.
So
I hear you.
That's the strength of this football team, by far, is the defense. So don't you want to obviously rely on those guys?
Absolutely, but as you said earlier today, if you're not scoring at all, then eventually the defense is going to get worn down.
Yeah.
Right? The defense can't shut them out every week. The defense has played great, but they're going to give up most of these games they're giving up 17, 20 points, whatever it is, and some of that special teams. But the special teams mistakes going to go away? Is it going to be as bad as last week? Probably not. But they're still going to make some special teams mistakes down the stretch.
They are, but I mean, they had 2 4th-down conversions they didn't get.
Right.
One was I think it was near the red area or in the red area, first quarter, first drive, right?
That was on they're both right around the 30-yard line, both ways.
So in plus territory. And then the other one, the one they fumbled with the Harold Fannin thing, weren't they at their own
30?
Own 30.
Yeah, like both ends
so
of the 30.
I'm just saying those were drive killers. This game was a total anomaly. Everything. I mean, the special teams to have the punt return, they set their first score. Like, the Niners didn't do anything exceptional in this game.
On offense, no. They're better than the Browns.
McCaffrey had 20 rushes for 53 yards. Like,
they
did a really good job on him.
Nobody had a great game offensively for San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey's yards per carry was terrible.
I mean, their quarterback's been to a Super Bowl and was considered an MVP of the league at one point, and he looked average.
I mean, he was fine.
Because the weather was terrible.
Right. It factored in. He played better. Now, Shador's numbers are misleading because a lot of the passing yards were put up in that last drive in garbage time when they were down by 20 points. So in legit time, he really threw for like 100 yards or whatever it was. I don't know. But
well, that's every quarterback, though. I mean,
well, yeah. So I'm going to point it out too with every other quarterback, just like I would with Shador. But this week is a week where if you're going to loosen the reins a little bit, it's got to be this week. Tennessee's the worst team in football.
They stink. And we watched the Raiders game 2 weeks ago, and we were sitting here at the Watch Party Bowl. You were here with us, and we were like, oh, my God, the Browns have had bad moments this season. Vegas was a complete different story of how terrible they were on both sides of the football.
Yeah.
And Tennessee might be even worse than Vegas is.
Yeah.
To the initial question of, how should they approach it? Is it more developmental? Is it more winning? At this point, like, winning is fun. But you're not making the play, even if you win out here, which I don't think any of us believe is possible.
Guys want to win, though. Guys still want to win.
I'm not saying they should eventually take. I agree with you both.
Yeah.
You could let Shador try and do more with the attempt of still winning football games.
Yeah, of course.
You have to give him the opportunity to make more checks at the line of scrimmage, to unleash the ball downfield more often, to throw fewer screen passes than he has in the last 2 games, which has become kind of the staple of what they've done against San Francisco and Vegas. And once again, weather played a factor against San Francisco. So it's not like I'm upset about it at all. I'm just saying, we've seen Shador at times make some really nice throws in his first 2 starts. When you go back and watch the tape, you've seen Shador kind of hesitate, not trust his eyes, not believe that guys are going to come open.
Especially this week.
When they are, and you go back and watch the All-22 against San Francisco, like there were opportunities to make some bigger pass plays that he missed for whatever reason. It's young. I think a lot of it comes with reps and timing with some of these guys. But we need to see more of it so you can make a determination, because I think at the end of the season, after they play Cincinnati in Week 18, we're going to go into the offseason. And the one thing we can't have, or the one thing the Browns can't have, is, are we sure we have something here? Did he show just enough that maybe we?
I think that's unlikely.
Is there not enough to base it off of? Like, I think to me that's the worst case scenario, which is why I think they have to prioritize kind of seeing what they have in these 2 guys, and mostly Shador, for my personal 2 cents.
Right.
To figure out what they need to do at the position moving forward.
I think they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round if they have the opportunity, no matter what happens the rest of the way. Now, if Shador plays great in these last few games, then maybe it changes their mind. But I'm going into it right now. Like,
with the assumption.
You got to go into it with the assumption, if they had an opportunity to get one of these top quarterbacks, if you believe they're really good, would they take it right now or wouldn't they? And which way has to be proven? To me, if the Browns were drafting right now and had an opportunity to take one of these top quarterbacks, if they believe they're really good,
100%
they would 100% take them right now.
Which is why you have to figure out what do you actually, in the 2 games that Shador started, he hasn't been great, hasn't been terrible.
Right.
It's still an unknown. I just don't think you could end the season with him still being a complete unknown mixed bag of, are we sure he's good, are we sure he stinks? It's impossible to tell off what we've seen so far.
Yeah, now, the analytics, the EPA,
not good,
would say he's been terrible.
Yeah, but 2 games isn't a big enough sample
size. It's not a
to
big
make
enough
a determination.
sample
size.
No,
and honestly, 6 games isn't enough.
One game was in
windstorm,
terrible conditions too, so it's not a fair enough sample size. I think this game, is one of his best opportunities. And by the way, taking off some of the guardrails doesn't mean throwing it 50 times.
No,
it just means okay, let's be 50-50. In terms of
let's let him take a couple shots down the field.
Right. Let's let him go down the field. Let's let him read the field, see things, hopefully, and
instead of running on 2nd and 7,
right?
You can maybe throw.
Yes, and he's got to be able to audible. If you're a quarterback, you can't audible in the NFL. You can't be a starting quarterback. It's that simple.
Agreed.
So and right now I don't know if they don't think he's capable of it or they're not willing to give him a try. I don't know what it is, but obviously they've played it very conservatively. And they lost big, and it was more about the special teams than it was about the offense. But as I said earlier, you score 8 points, you score 8 points. Yeah. I know the reason they gave up as many points as they did is because of the special teams. But you can't win games when you score 8 points, no matter how good your defense is.
No, it was one drive. And the one drive they scored the touchdown and the 2-point conversion on, they ran the ball 8 straight plays.
Right.
And then dialed up a really nice play-action play where Shedeur hit Harold Fannin for the touchdown. It was a good design. It was a good throw. It was good execution.
Yeah.
You score, you get the 2-point conversion. Then you don't get back to the end zone at all. You got into the plus half of the field.
They didn't even get to the red zone. The Browns did not have a single play in the red zone. Not one in this game.
No, because it was a 34-yard touchdown pass. And then, even on the drives in the fourth quarter, they got into the plus territory, but then the drive stalled out twice.
Right.
The 4th and 16 sack
not
and the 4th and 26.
one single play in the red zone this past game.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's not good enough.
Far from it.
Enough. You're not going to win many games like that.
Far from it. All right, Anthony, what do you got for us? Got to read?
I sure do, guys.
Okay.
The holidays are coming up, and they're actually officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something that you wrap, it's something that shares memories. Because Aura isn't your average picture frame, you can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, it's just instant smiles. It's a holiday gift that actually gets used and doesn't get put into a drawer. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code LOCKEDON. This deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast, so order yours now and get in on time for the holidays and support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply.
All right. There you go. So Maliek Collins, guys, injured.
Shame.
What was the injury? I don't even remember.
Quad.
And he's out for the season.
Tore it? Or pull it really bad?
Mary Kay could give us some more insight. They just said it was a quad injury that's going to require surgery. So.
Oh, man.
Big deal obviously a big deal for him, but in terms of for the team.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a bummer.
It's a really big bummer. I mean, he's played really well this year. And the whole defensive line's played great. So you're going to be down, one of your top guys. I mean, that's a huge loss.
Yeah.
Fortunately for the Browns, they've got a bunch of other guys who played well and stepped up. They have a ton of depth, I think, in the defensive line.
Right.
And Miles is playing at another world level
right now. It's an opportunity for Mike Hall Jr.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get a lot more reps now.
PFF put out there 75% of the season, first team and second team, all defense and all offense.
Yeah.
He was their first team, all defensive tackle. Bill Barnwell put out his on ESPN.
Yeah.
75% way through the season, first and second team all defense. Maliek Collins was a second team selection by Bill Barnwell. He was playing that well this season. Let's not underestimate how good Maliek Collins was through the first 12 games. He led all defensive tackles in sacks with 6.5. He led defensive tackles in pass rush win rate. The Browns' defensive line as a whole was #1 in football in basically every statistic you could look at.
Yeah.
It's obviously going to hurt. They have the depth to replace it, but I think more than anything, what this is going to do is shift the focus to Mason Graham. Because with Maliek Collins alongside him on the interior of the defensive line, Mason Graham was the second DT that offenses were kind of circling and prioritizing in terms of pass rush. Who's the guy we have to make sure we're kind of sliding towards? Obviously, Miles on the outside is the #1 priority every single pass rush opportunity, but Collins was the guy. Now it's going to be Mason Graham. And as you mentioned, Mike Hall, their second-round pick last year, he's a hypothetical. He's made a couple nice plays this year. He hasn't been on the field enough for us to know he can do some of the things that we saw Maliek Collins do consistently week in and week out this year. So it's a good opportunity for him, but I'm now more curious, how is Mason Graham going to handle being the #1 defensive tackle on this defensive line, play after play after play?
Do we know that? Do you know that, are they really game planning that way? I don't know how often. I mean, I don't know enough about how offenses game plan. I'd love to ask Brian Hoyer that question, but we had him yesterday.
We're going to get Hoyer back a lot more, by the way. very good chance he's a contributor for us next year.
Really?
Nice.
I like that.
I don't want to announce any news that I'm not supposed to announce. Of Steve.
All right. Well, I like that because,
Brian Hoyer's coming back.
I don't know. I mean, Myles Garrett is a freak, so you're game planning for him. But I don't know if, teams were looking at it as, Maliek Collins is our biggest concern, and then Mason Graham. Are you so sure? I don't know why you're so sure teams were preparing that way.
It just puts more of the onus on him to make sure he's not necessarily they're shifting the line because they're shifting the line to Myles Garrett.
Not as good a player
alongside him. Exactly.
Yes,
so
that I agree with.
Now it's more on Mason Graham.
Yeah. Okay.
The stalwart they drafted him to be.
Right. And he's played well.
And he's played great as the number 2 defensive tackle.
Well, but I don't really look at it that way. I don't look at him as number 2 defensive tackle.
He was lined up along the guy that had the most sacks from the defensive tackle position.
I hear you, but I don't know. Like Dustin, when you're going into a game, I mean, you play defense, so it's different. But is there a number 1 and number 2 defensive tackle? Are offenses looking at it that way?
Most defensive lines play 10 guys on their defensive line.
Right.
It's the most rotated position probably in the sport.
Sure.
So no, I don't think that there's. I mean, you may obviously be aware of if one guy is significantly better. Like if you got to block Aaron Donald, that's your number 1 defensive tackle. Let's make sure we got 2, 3 guys in this guy at all times. But no, I mean, outside of Myles Garrett, I don't know that there's anybody that they're like.
Right. I don't know that. I don't
know. The onus
that,
goes on Mason Graham now to not produce at Maliek Collins' level, but he knew he had a guy next to him that was getting to the quarterback.
Right.
If not more frequently, as frequently as any of the defensive tackles in football.
That I can see.
Now it falls on Mason Graham to be able to kind of replicate that level of success
that I agree.
Alongside of Mike Hall as opposed to a Maliek Collins.
I just don't.
They're not shifting the line.
I just don't know that he's now going to face tougher matchups.
No. Because he's lining up over the right guard or the left guard. It doesn't matter now. I just mean now the pressure's on Mason.
Yes, to maybe produce more as a sack guy.
And we talked about when they got drafted number 5 overall.
Yeah.
The history of guys taken that high in the draft at that position.
We're expecting more sacks.
How quickly some of those guys turned into disruptive, dominant pass rushers.
Yes.
Graham's been really good the last couple of weeks.
He has.
Don't mistake
sacks
me.
is the one part of the game we haven't had. We haven't really seen yet.
And now he's going to have to put on some of these pass rush sequences and get to the quarterback without a guy next to him who was actually getting home at a rate that was higher than any of the defensive tackles in football.
Probably Mason Graham was contributing to that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And now it's not just him. He's the number 1 guy. But yes, we're going to be looking for more from him, even though he's playing well already. We're looking more for Mike Hall. We're looking more for Shelby Harris because these are the guys who are going to have to pick up the slack. But Mason Graham, as the 5th overall pick and a starter already, is the guy who has to, more than anybody else, pick up some of that slack of getting to the quarterback and finishing. It's obviously important. It's a big loss. I mean, I don't know that overall we're going to notice a significant difference in how the Browns defense plays because they're so talented across the board. But no doubt Maliek Collins had been, one of their best players on defense. Yeah, so it's a loss. If the Browns were a contender, that's a much bigger deal because now you're like, okay, if the Browns had an average offense, they'd be a playoff team, and you'd need and your special part of your team is your defense, and you want it to be all hands on deck. And the Browns have been extremely healthy on the defense this year.
It's like the first major injury they've had, and it came in week 13.
Yeah.
Think about that. 12 weeks of almost unprecedented health from the defense.
Right.
And now you get your first major injury. And I'm curious, Dustin, what you think on how much the interior pass rush that the Browns are able to generate this year, which they haven't in the past, has helped Myles Garrett put up as many sacks as he has.
I think it's obvious that it has helped him a ton. He hasn't had quite this level of talent inside that makes an offense prepare for other people. And that when those guys all of a sudden start making plays, you just can't devote everybody to taking away Myles Garrett because the other guys will take advantage. I mean, Maliek Collins is 6.5 sacks for an interior lineman. That's a ton.
Yeah, I mean, he was on pace for 10, which is
that's
a lot.
Ton for an interior lineman.
Yeah. Did they sign him to a 2-year deal, Maliek Collins?
I'll look it up. I'm not sure.
Because I think a week or two ago I said they should re-sign him, and then somebody sent me a message saying, I think he signed a 2-year deal, and I meant to look it up, and I totally forgot about it because I would want to bring him back next year. And he's a guy who's probably not going to cost a ton.
It was a 2-year deal.
Oh, really? How much would they pay him?
$20 million, $13 guaranteed.
Wow, that's a steal.
Incredible contract.
Yeah, that's a great deal. One of the best free agent contracts that the Browns have done in recent years. So they got him.
Yeah.
So they got him for next year, which is great. If I'm the Browns, I would let's say he's owed $10 million next year or whatever it is. I'd offer him hey, well, let's do a 2-year. Give him a little kicker, extend it another year.
$3 million guaranteed next year.
Yeah, right. Hey, we'll guarantee 75% of your money next year, but let's add another year at a lower price or something. So that could lower the cap hit a little bit on him. Not that it's that high.
He's been awesome.
He's been great.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You can never, as you said, Dustin, you can never have enough depth on the defensive line. Never. No. Because the Browns, there's not a lot of special things about the Browns, but one of the things that is special is their D-line and their depth. They have a lot of good players they can rotate in there. And, usually with a lot of teams, once you get the guys 6, 7, 8, you start, guys stink.
7, 8.
That was good.
Is 8 supposed to be part of that? Can
no.
you say just 6, 7, right?
Yeah, you got to do the hands, though.
6, 7. How did this start? Does anybody know?
It was
asking the wrong
stupid TikTok trend.
Right. That's why it's all over the country and not just, But what's the meaning of it initially?
There is nothing.
So some random person did this.
It was a rapper. Had
it
was
a
rapper and then the LaMelo Ball too, right?
And then LaMelo Ball, and then it caught fire.
And then it blew up.
And just it's a stupid thing. And then Jason did it at Thanksgiving, and his kids went nuts.
That was quite
his
disturbing.
daughter was like, "Dad, you can't do that with people
Cringe,
over."
Dad.
Yeah, it was funny. One thing on Maliek Collins.
So
I am. They didn't use chopped.
Chopped.
My daughter loves.
Is that an insult?
I mean,
when you're chopped?
Yeah, but she's like, I'm so chopped. That's just the thing they say.
What does that mean?
When I was, let's say I took a picture of my daughter, I'm like, hey, let's take a picture. It's the holidays on Thanksgiving. She's like, Dad, don't post that. I look chopped. I look so chopped. Oh my God. My hair, and my face. Oh my God, I'm so chopped.
I've never heard that one.
It basically means I look terrible.
Maybe is that one that only the girls use? I don't know.
I haven't heard that one. I'll be honest. I have not heard that one.
Well, being a dad of a teenager.
Question on the Collins thing, though. So, Collins was awesome against the pass this year. We talked about all the pass rush numbers. He's also good against the run. He graded out pretty darn well against the run. If you swap Mike Hall for Maliek Collins, and just hypothetically, I'm just thinking
it's a bit of a downgrade.
Mike Hall, coming out of Ohio State, was known as a pass rusher. He's more on the smaller side for a defensive tackle.
Right.
Quick off the line, but he wasn't necessarily a run stuffer. Mason Graham, obviously, coming out of
Shelby Harris
is a run stuffer. And Mason Graham coming out, just go back to the Ohio State game when Michigan beat Ohio State.
Is a run stopper,
Jason told us that Chip Kelly wanted to run at Mason Graham to prove a point, and obviously that panned out horrifically.
Yeah.
I'm curious if that's going to kind of hurt the Browns' ability on early downs to kind of stop the run as efficiently as they have.
I would think Shelby Harris is going to be the starter and not Mike Hall, maybe. Right? I mean,
they're all going to play a ton.
Right, sure.
Who's out there the first play doesn't matter. I mean,
but I like Shelby Harris is the guy you want on rundowns, on what you think is a rundown, and with I guess it depends on the team, but like with Tennessee doesn't run.
Ever.
They can't pass. They can't do anything. So, but like,
did you see that?
What are they thinking, by the way, watching Mike Vrabel right now? They got to be just like, what are we?
Well, they fired the GM who fired Mike Vrabel already.
I know, but it was the owner that
chose a GM.
Yeah, and Vrabel made a comment. Did you see? This is like maybe a month ago or something about. They asked him a question about the owner of Tennessee, and he's like, I haven't spoken to her since she fired me.
Yeah, well, why would he?
Was it after they beat the brakes off him?
I believe so, or it was that week. I don't know.
Patriots have the best record in the NFL.
Did you watch them last night?
I didn't watch much, but
Drake May's really good.
I mean, it was 30 to whatever at the end of the first half.
They had a similar situation early where they had a special teams touchdown and a turnover. It kind of got away from them a little bit.
The Giants are a disaster.
Yep.
What's funny is the Giants and the Titans will be two of the top 5 picks, and neither one needs a quarterback. So
I like Jackson Dart. I think he's got a chance.
Yeah.
If he could stay healthy,
he's got
to stop running so much.
He takes monster.
Did you see? You didn't see much last night.
Yeah.
So Jackson Dart took a bunch of ridiculous.
I know there was one where there was everybody started fighting.
Oh yeah, I mean there was a dude for the Patriots. Excuse me. Yeah, a linebacker who had one hit on Dart, and then he had a hit on special teams that was not special teams. It was a defensive play on a receiver. It was a helmet to helmet. It was one of the worst collisions I've ever seen in football.
Yeah.
The kid was knocked unconscious, and it was helmet to helmet. Yeah. But they don't have targeting in the NFL.
Nope.
Dart
reminds me a little, not physically, but like the way he plays is a little like Baker. He likes taking hits. He likes getting hit.
Did you hear what he said after the game?
No.
Yeah, he said he didn't have a problem with it.
He goes, we're playing football, not soccer.
Yeah.
Getting hits part of the game.
Well, this past week, because Baker's obviously playing with, again, the non-throwing shoulder injury that he played with, and he actually played a decent game this past week.
They won by 3, right?
They did. And they're actually battling the Panthers for the division title, which is crazy.
Bryce Young playing well.
Yeah, he's played better.
We were
he
right.
sucked early in the season.
Hey, they beat the Rams, man.
That was a nice win. That pass he threw to Tet McMillan for the game-winning touchdown was a great throw. And I don't think Tet McMillan had a catch before that, which was weird. But the Panthers have been running the ball well. But anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked on the Panthers. But Baker, I was watching a little bit of the game, during commercials of the Browns game, because, of course, I have Baker on one of my dynasty teams.
Of course.
And they were talking on the broadcast how Baker was like, I can't take hits this week because I got to be careful with the shoulder. He's like, I'm going to have to, because he's not a slide guy. And, of course, there was one time he was about to get hit, and he did slide. And that's the same thing with Dart. You got to take care of yourself. I get it. I love a player that wants to be physical and fight.
He's been in concussion protocol 4 times already.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's just not going to survive.
Aikman talked about it during the broadcast. He said, listen, I'm telling you right now, the kid's not going to make it in this league if he keeps running. He's like, I get it. He's a rookie. He's excited. He's going to run a little bit more because he's still trying to figure out everything. But years 2 through 10, 12, and so on and so forth, he's going to have to play from the pocket.
Right. But even the thing,
you can still use your ability to run. Even Lamar's running less.
Lamar does not get hit.
No
he rarely takes a big hit because he's good at getting out of bounds and sliding. You got to get better at that. That's part of the reason RG3's career got ruined because he didn't know how to slide.
And sometimes just don't know how to take a hit.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels does not know how to avoid contact.
That's
bad. Coming out of college,
Yeah.
there were a couple hits when he was playing at LSU when he won the high. He was incredible that last year.
Yeah.
There were a few times where you see him scramble.
Yeah. Now, Josh Allen, the guy's built like a brick,
Cam
Newton, house.
Yeah.
Don't really matter. Although Cam Newton, though, his career ended early because he took a lot of hits, and that could, right now Josh Allen's not fazed by anything. But if he takes as many hits as he does, eventually it'll catch up.
Yeah.
He might not have as long a career as you think he would because of all the hits he's taken, even as big as he is. But how did we get here with talking about hits on quarterbacks? But I was saying with the Giants though. But he's got no Scattaboo, he's got no neighbors. It's hard to win without your best players. I think Wan'Dale Robinson's developed into a pretty good. But he's a number 2. He's not a number 1.
He's a slot guy. He's a slot
but he's good.
Yeah.
And
when you have neighbors on the outside, and
he's a nice receiver. But the Giants stink. But you're gonna have the Giants and Titans with top 5 picks not drafting quarterbacks.
And Tyler Shook has actually looked halfway decent.
Yeah, I wonder what the Saints are going to do. And then the Jets are definitely going to draft a quarterback, and they're but we'll see. Knows? All right, let's do something. I'm going to throw a curveball at Anthony here. Anthony, he's looking like he's going to crap himself right now. Anthony,
already did. Don't worry about it.
Do we have any super chats yet?
I think so. Let me go check.
All right, can you please read super chats? I would like to read some super chats. I'm throwing you all off. I'm throwing a curveball. We're going to read a couple. Is
there a reason why?
I'll keep everybody on their toes here.
We got some time today.
We got a little time.
I got 3 super chats for you guys.
Yeah.
James Mace says clearly Michigan planned on losing because of what they did after the game. And I don't know if you guys saw after the game they went to the logo.
Right.
Yeah, that means with the time still on the clock, they were talking on the sidelines about what are we going to do with the M. That's how bad.
Was Ohio State going to do something?
No. In fact, Ohio State had. They had gone into this game saying, we're going to go up there, we're going to kick their ass, and we're going to win the class in humility.
Yeah.
And they did. Even before the game, this is why I think it's great. I heard SVP had Stanford Seed. They did that podcast together.
Yep.
Did you see this clip?
I did.
And who?
So, Stanford Steve?
It's his guy.
It's his boy. He's always with him on his show.
Oh, okay.
It's his producer.
All right.
It's like his producer, yeah. But he also does podcasts. He's a big gambling guy. He's on game day, too.
Yeah, I've seen it.
He played at Stanford.
Played at Stanford, tight end. Anyway, Stanford Steve said he was in the tunnel, which is so stupid that Michigan's tunnel is both teams come out the same tunnel. That's ridiculous. Yeah. But Michigan was chirping and they were going crazy, and then Ohio State was right there. And instead of
going back
at it with them, they just Ryan Day apparently just smiled at him, just smirked, and then they just were there for business.
Right.
They didn't entertain any of the BS.
So because Ohio State didn't even want to do anything, Michigan looks even more lame for blocking.
Correct.
They look so, and it does. I think James is right. It looks like they had clearly thought if we lose, Ohio State wasn't going into that game. If we lose, we got to do whatever.
Yeah, and Ryan Day's smart. He probably told his guys before the game. He said, "Listen, when we win this game, We're not doing that.
Oh, 100%.
We're not doing it.
Right.
We're not doing it. He probably's like, you know what? You're off the team if you do something stupid.
I like that.
I'm not saying he said that, but that's what I would have done. And by the way, it didn't matter. Brutus took care of it all.
Yeah, that was a great troll. Great troll.
That was funny. Is it the same guy always playing Brutus?
No.
Oh, there's how many different guys?
There's a couple of them.
I say guys. It could be girls.
They're both genders. I mean, throughout the years.
All right. So there's nobody. Is there a spreadsheet? If I were in charge of Ohio State, you know what I would have? A spreadsheet of who's played Brutus the most.
You have a spreadsheet for literally everything.
Yeah.
No, I don't literally everything, but
TV shows.
I have about 10 spreadsheets, that I use. TV shows / movies, that's one. I have the books I read, so I can keep track of what's coming up. Work, I have like a work spreadsheet. That's been going on for a long time. MLB rosters, I got a spreadsheet for that. That's really it. I think I have one more. And then
fantasy football.
But that I just do new every year. I don't really have like a ongoing spreadsheet for that. All right, Anthony, we got 2 more super chats.
I got 2 more super chats for you guys. We got some time here. Joey BOD says, would you guys trade Evan for Pascal?
No.
As much as I'm down on Evan, I guess not. And Evan didn't do anything yesterday, right?
He had a good first quarter, then Tyson and Donovan took over.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that later. My man, ripping the team. Love it. Bunch of soft-ass veterans. Go ahead.
All right, Smooth says, if Barry stays and Stefanski is fired, are we sure he would undercut his own pick of Sanders and its perceived value for a new quarterback next year?
He's a 5th-round pick, yes.
How could we be sure of anything?
Yes. I'm not sure, but...
the question was, are you sure they're going to draft a quarterback? I'm not sure they're going to draft a quarterback. I got to see what happens the rest of the season. But if Shedeur Sanders doesn't make it abundantly clear that he's the answer, then they're drafting a quarterback, most likely, unless they don't think anybody in this draft's any good. That would be the only reason. But we're not – if Shedeur doesn't make it clear he's the guy, he was a 5th-round pick, so it's not like he's a 1st-round pick. You're going to give him another year.
You don't hold out and wait on a 5th-round pick. It's nothing against Shedeur. It's just in the history of football, no team's ever held out and waited for a 5th-round pick to develop when they have a chance.
All right,
so he's got, to your point, he's got to make it abundantly clear he is the answer. Back to the first topic. Let's see what he can do.
And look, guys, if they draft the number 1 overall pick, let's say they draft Mendoza, okay, and he comes in here, and Shedeur's not going anywhere, they'll compete. And if Shedeur it's abundantly clear Shedeur's better than that dude as a rookie, Shedeur will win the job next year.
Are you sure that if they draft a quarterback in the 1st round, that they're going to keep Shedeur here? I know Jason thinks you got to either make him the starter or he's gone.
So I disagree with that.
Okay.
But the one caveat here is that if there's a new coach and GM, all bets are off. I would think a new coach and GM would probably not want Shedeur here just from a distraction standpoint.
Right, unless that new coach thinks he's good.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe he does. I mean, maybe this new coach loves Shedeur coming out of Colorado.
Possible. Absolutely possible. Yeah. All right, Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed our mid-show Super Chat reads. If you want 24/7 coverage, you can follow us on all of our social medias at Ultimate Sports on Twitter and Instagram, and Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show there on TikTok. Luke Becker does a great job of editing all of our shorts together, so you guys have content around the clock, even when we're off. And I want you guys to tune in. We're doing a post-game show Sunday as usual, and thanks for liking and subscribing. We appreciate all the support you guys have been giving our watch parties from the bottom of my heart. Genuinely, thank you.
All right, so CBS Sports had an article. I'm going to bring it up right now, in fact, that talked about, I'll give you the headline, NFL future rankings for bad teams, sorting 12 struggling franchises by tiers from hopeful to hopeless. The 12 teams. All right. So
in order, you're just giving us the 12 teams.
Well,
I have the 12 teams.
I got it. I got it here. So there's 3 different categories. There's closer than you think, need something fresh, and a long way away. Which one do you think the Browns are in?
I made the graphics for this, so I will abstain from
Dustin, which one do you think the Browns are in? A long way away, need something fresh, or closer than you think?
Closer than you think.
If only that were the case. Not according to this writer, and this was written by, whoever the hell wrote this for CBS, Jared Dubin. The Browns are part of the bottom group, which is a long way away. You see there, Titans at 8, Jets at 9, Browns at 10, Saints at 11, and Raiders at 12. The middle group is need something fresh. You got the Commanders at 3, Giants at 4, Falcons at 5, Cardinals at 6, and Dolphins at 7. And then the top group is the Bengals and the Cowboys. It says these two teams are essentially a legitimate defense away from being real playoff teams. I mean, I don't even know that I'd put the Bengals and Cowboys in this group at all. Like, I don't know if I would leave them out. So you obviously think they ranked the Browns wrong. You think they're closer than you think? Or were you just trying to guess what you thought they would put?
I was just guessing, and also that's sort of my opinion too.
Yeah, you think they are?
I do.
It's funny that they list the Bengals and Cowboys as closer than you think, saying, well, all they need is a defense. And yet with the Browns, you can say all you need is the offense. Now, it's harder to get the offense because you need a quarterback. A quarterback is the hardest thing to get, a good quarterback. Whereas the Bengals and Cowboys have quarterbacks. And the bottom line is you trust a team. If you're a fan, you'd rather have a team in this NFL, and maybe it'll change again, but you'd much rather have a great offensive team with a mediocre defense than a great defensive team with a mediocre offense.
Look at the Bengals last year and the Browns this year.
Right.
Two polar opposites of each other. The Bengals last year had historically bad defense.
Right.
Well, you talked about it time after time.
Yeah.
They finished the year 9-8, had a chance to make the playoffs.
Right.
We're putting up 40 to 45 points a game. They just were allowing 46 to 50.
Similar this year, except they didn't have Joe Burrow.
For part of it.
But they're still 3-0 when Burrow's played this year.
And then on the flip side, the Browns are 3-9 with a defense that we all think is in the top tier of defenses in football.
No doubt. It might be the best. It's certainly top 5.
And an offense that is bottom 5.
Yeah.
If not bottom 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a chance to win when you have a quarterback that can outscore anybody.
Right.
If you struggle to score, in San Francisco last week's a great example. I know special teams was the ultimate factor they lost, but to our point earlier, they scored one touchdown. Like one touchdown drive. Didn't have a play in the red zone.
Yeah.
You're just not going to win many games.
No.
7-0, 7-6, 8-0. It's just so hard to play perfect in the other two facets.
Yeah.
But when you have an elite quarterback and an offense that can score, you can find ways to win 41-38. You could it's tough. It's obviously not sustainable, but you can find ways to win.
You probably can't win a Super Bowl if your defense stinks. Right? But if nothing else, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Right? If nothing else, even if they're mediocre or whatever. Like, if you're a Browns fan, Dustin, you're a Browns fan.
Yes.
If you could trade rosters with the Bengals, would you do it?
They have Joe Burrow.
100%.
Yes.
Right.
They have
That's
Joe
it.
Burrow.
And it's mostly because of one guy. Obviously, Jamar Chase factors in and T. Higgins and a couple other guys, but it's mostly because of one guy. And so you, as bad as the Bengals defense is, you'd still rather have the Bengals roster. Now, you could argue, you could make the case that in the Browns case, well, I was going to say that you really just need the quarterback. But the Browns are so bad on the offensive line and so bad at wide receiver that it will take more than just a quarterback. Now, obviously, if they had an elite quarterback, it could make up for some of the other deficiencies. The offensive line, that's going to be a hard turnaround.
You watched Burrow the year they made the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How does the Browns' offensive line this year compare to the Bengals' offensive line that year? Because that was the whole talking point the whole season was the Bengals' offensive line was getting Burrow killed.
Yeah. Part of it is first of all, Burrow, and he'll tell you this, I would think. He contributes to some of his own sacks. He holds the ball. First of all, he doesn't want to give up on a play. So there are times where he'll hold the ball longer than he should. And the Bengals throw the ball so much, he's just going to take more hits. That's just part of his game. I think the Browns' current offensive line is worse than the Bengals that year. Not by a lot, but it's worse. But it's going to get even worse.
Yeah.
You see it. Wyatt Teller is deteriorating. Joe Bitonio is no longer playing at a Pro Bowl level.
No.
Like, they have nobody under contract that's a starter for next year. Not one guy under contract that's a starter for next year, for sure. And I don't know, you couldn't name for sure a single starter on the Browns' offensive line for next year.
No.
Not one. So that's a massive, massive issue. So, yeah, I mean, the Browns are along. I do think they're – I bring up that list again, Anthony, of the group that the Browns are in.
It's the Saints, I think.
Saints, Raiders, Jets.
Titans, Jets, and Browns.
Like, the Browns, to me, are in better shape than any of those other teams in terms of roster, to me. Now, if you love Cam Ward, then you probably feel differently. But Cam Ward's been obviously pretty bad as a rookie. It doesn't mean he won't be. He's on a terrible team. Yeah. I'm giving him time.
He's made some really good throws. The numbers are horrific.
But the Saints don't have a quarterback. The Raiders don't have a quarterback. And the Jets don't have a quarterback. So,
the Browns I'll put the Browns higher than all these teams do.
Yeah, the Browns at least are great at one side of the ball. Now, the only thing about that is it's hard to be consistently great on defense year to year as opposed to on offense, where if you have your quarterback healthy, you're going to be fine. Because, we saw it. The Browns were great on defense in 22. Last year, they were mediocre.
Yep.
And this year, they've been great again. And you could say, well, they've added talent, which they have. But 2022 and 2023, they have basically the same guys.
And they've been incredibly healthy, as we mentioned earlier.
Right.
Which is hard to sustain year after year.
That
and
too.
they lost Emerson at the beginning of the year, too, before anything really started.
Yeah. Denzel Ward has stayed healthy this year. Has he missed a game this year? I don't think so.
Nope.
This could be his first year that he plays the whole season. And, you're going to get that again next year? I don't know. But, obviously the Browns are extremely talented and extremely deep on defense. I would put them I would put them in the next group.
That need something fresh to your...
Yes.
And it's not something fresh in your mind? Is that...
Something new. To me, it's...
Quarterback.
A quarterback or a head coach?
Offense.
Or a...
Yeah. Obviously, it's quarterback, but to me, it's coach and GM.
So why do you think those 5 teams, Bull, this writer from CBS, put these 5 teams in a different category than the Browns? I think you're right. You can make a case.
Not the Giants, but a giant.
Yeah, I spelled that wrong. That's on me. Hand up, my bad.
Yeah, to me, the Commanders are in closer than you think.
I agree.
Because
they were there.
I think Jaden Daniels will bounce back next year. He's got his issues, but I think he'll bounce back next year.
All those teams have a quarterback that they think could be the guy to take them to the Super Bowl.
Do you love any of those quarterbacks?
Do I love any of those 4 quarterbacks?
I don't love Tua. Don't love Kyler.
I mean, listen.
Penix.
Okay, so Tua injury prone.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray injury prone.
Yeah.
Penix way too early. Also turnover prone.
Right.
Giants
way
don't
too
know
early.
about him.
Yeah, and injury
Commanders
prone.
Injury prone. So all those, they all have quarterbacks.
No, Giants injury prone too with Dart.
Yeah, fair enough.
I know it's too early.
Yeah.
I mean, of all those quarterbacks, I like Daniels the most, and then I would probably put Dart too.
I like Dart number 2. Yeah.
Yeah, but so far they've both been injured a lot early in their careers, and with Dart especially, we got to see way more. But yeah, I mean, obviously the Giants are going to get a new coach this year. Dolphins, it looks like they're not going to. I mean, Dolphins are actually playing much better since they got smoked by the Browns. We thought they fired the coach. Instead, they've gone the opposite way.
They actually rallied behind him and kind of they came out publicly and backed their coach. And I mean, I like Mike, so I hope he can turn it around.
Am I crazy to think the Cardinals shouldn't be in this group? They actually should be in the group above because they're on the hook for Kyler. I don't think Kyler Murray is good. I think they've played significantly better.
You're saying they should be in the group that the Browns are in?
Yeah. I would actually just because they're stuck under contract with Kyler Murray for multiple years at $40+ million a year.
Yeah.
The offenses look significantly better with Jacoby Brissett. McBride's look better. Harrison Jr.'s look better. The running games look better. That whole offense operates better with Jacoby Brissett, but you're stuck with Kyler Murray.
I just don't watch enough Cardinals because they're on the West Coast. And I just don't know.
I
mean, every time I've seen Murray when he's healthy, he makes plays.
He kind of, when he was healthy, he would always fall apart late in the season, though. I don't love the Cardinals, but I don't love the Dolphins either.
I also don't mind putting the Dolphins up in group 2.
I don't trust Tua.
I'm trying to take my Browns bias out of this, but I think being stuck with quarterbacks like Tua and Kyler under contract puts them further away from actually being truly competitive than...
Yeah, but the Dolphins, the Dolphins could still make the playoffs. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that the Browns are in better shape than the Cardinals or Dolphins, but I guess I get what you're saying. You can make that argument. I would not put the Browns ahead of those other teams.
No.
Although the Giants stink too. But at least the Falcons and Saints have hope with a quarterback.
Yeah.
Penix and Dart. The Browns don't right now. Well, I mean, I know some fans do, but we'll see. It's just, and it's not just they're just so bad on offense.
Yeah.
The Browns.
I mean, but let's use the Giants as an example.
Yeah.
Right. You have Dart, who people really like. Obviously, the health is a legitimate concern.
Yeah, you like at this moment, you'd take Dart over anybody on the Browns.
100%.
You'd take Malik Neighbors over any wide receiver.
You take Wan'Dale Robinson over any receiver.
Jerry Jeudy's better than Wan'Dale Robinson. I know he's having a terrible year, but come on.
Right now?
You were saying he was a Pro Bowler last year.
And look how bad he's been this year.
Dude.
I know, he's terrible.
I would not take
I would take Judkins over Scatterbo.
I
like Scatterbo.
Yeah, no, I would take Judkins over Scatterbo.
But I would take Judkins.
The Giants' offensive line.
Scatterbo is a good player.
Yeah.
Judkins is special.
He doesn't have the special trait that Judkins has.
No, right, yeah.
And the Giants' offensive line is significantly better than the Browns.
But I would take.
And Scatterbo is going to probably live in concussion protocol throughout his career.
Yeah, the way he plays.
Yeah, and I'm not making fun of it. Obviously, I just think he plays with such a reckless abandon.
Yeah, right.
That, frankly, it's kind of selfish because he's not going to be able to be on the field. They need him on the field.
Yeah. They've got good depth at running back though with Tyrell Tracy and Singletary.
Singletary was good last night.
Browns got. I'd take Harold Fannin over any of the Giants tight ends.
How about the stat they put up in the broadcast about Fannon's run after catch, like after contact?
He's hard to tackle.
He has. I think it was like. You remember the stat they gave on CBS?
No, but I know he's broken more tackles than any rookie receiver this season.
Maybe that was it. I don't know, but it was a great stat, and they were just raving about the fact because he's not the biggest guy.
No,
he's slippery though.
Right,
he's slippery.
Yes, it's a good way to put it.
All right, we've got Aditi coming up at noon, correct?
No, Mary Kay.
Mary Kay's at noon.
Sorry, Mary Kay at noon, followed by Aditi. So that's coming up in just a little bit. Do we have any more super chats, Anthony?
Yeah, you want to do some super chats?
Give me a couple more super chats.
Some more mid-show super chats.
I'm keeping it crazy today.
Brad says Shedeur will be okay versus the Titans this week, but 3 of the 4 remaining games have good defense. At the end of the season, we will still be looking for a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Shedeur and Dillon are not the franchise quarterbacks.
By the way, do you know who the number 1 seed in the NFC is right now?
The Bears, right?
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
They're 9-2, right?
9-3.
9-3.
9-3. Where did this come from?
Okay, Caleb Williams is playing at an elite level right now.
They're running the ball at an elite level.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson's gotten fired up.
Yeah.
He's
Their
done a good
defense
job.
leads the NFL in turnovers by a significant margin. Like they've forced.
They've kind of come out of nowhere.
It's funny because I remember early in the year. Remember when the Lions smacked them?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then they made fun of Ben because Ben left them and all this stuff, and there was some bad blood there.
Yeah.
And everyone was thinking maybe Ben's a bad guy or something.
Yeah. Well,
obviously the Bears players love him.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Bears.
By the way, dude's pretty jacked, man. You see him take
He
his
is
shirt
jacked.
off?
Yeah. He said he squats 405 still.
Well, no, you're talking about Harbaugh, right?
No. Well, Harbaugh too.
You saw that, right? The
Yeah.
Harbaugh? Okay.
Harbaugh squats 405
at 63 years old.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
There's a video.
The's video of it.
Wow.
Now it's
with a bar. He's got a spot.
He got the assisted bar.
It's not, and maybe it's not a full.
It counts.
I count it 100%.
If you're 63 putting 405 on the bar,
I don't care if he went halfway down.
The fact that you could lift that off the bar.
That's crazy. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
He's an animal.
Ben Johnson's a monster.
Yeah, I got next one here comes from James Mace. The Giants kicker trying to blame the holder is crazy work.
Yeah.
That was
the
a
funniest
crazy
kick.
play. What happened there?
He stubbed his toe.
He just swung and missed. The
Giants so embarrassing.
The Giants have had absolute kicking disasters this season. You want to talk about a team that cannot make a kick at any capacity? They should just start going for 2. Pull the variable from Tennessee. They've missed extra points. They've missed the ball. I've never seen that before.
Wasn't he a good kicker with Atlanta for a little while?
And then he got
really good.
Got the
yips.
Yes, he did in Atlanta late because he had at one point didn't he have like a 62-yarder or something?
A game winner, 62-yarder. Yeah, he was a good.
He blamed the punter or the holder.
Yeah,
Jamie Gillen, baby, Jamie Gillen,
former Brown.
You can't be throwing the punter under the bus. You got to cut him after that. You can't.
He's like their 4th kicker already.
So you got to cut him. So you get a 5th kicker.
Watching the video, I think I'd cut him, Mike. That was an embarrassing.
There's a million kickers out there.
No. I'm saying that they cut kickers left and right. It's their favorite pastime. Like every Monday.
There's 50 kickers on the market right now, sitting on their couch.
Yeah.
That can kick in the league right now.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Any more super chats?
Yeah, I got 2 more, and I'm still waiting on MKC. So Reddy says the only answer is for the Browns to use these draft picks to create the conditions on a roster to properly evaluate any QB in this system.
Okay.
And then Topo42 says, Dustin, is the fact this team can't move the ball downfield better after the first possession more of an indictment of the talent or the coaching?
That's been the issue since Stefanski's been here. I mean, they're very good at coming out with a scripted drive, putting together a great opening drive. I would if you want to ever bet on the Browns, bet on them for the first quarter. They're phenomenal in the first quarter, and then they fall apart. So I think it's a bit of an indictment on everybody, frankly. I mean, talent. I think Stefanski's getting the most out of his talent by putting together a nice drive, and then not doing a nice job the rest of the game, and then obviously the talent is lacking.
Do we have Mary Kay?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
So, I have a question at the end of the show before we do Super Chats.
What's the question? Tease us the question.
Which NFL coach would win in a Royal Rumble?
Oh, okay. We'll get to that later.
All right, guys. Mary Kay today is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting in real time. And with FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, and every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. So, if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com to place your bets, NFL live bets, all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. And we welcome in now Mary Kay.
And I would bet on Mary Kay winning the Browns beat reporter Royal Rumble. I'm taking Mary Kay. She's tough. The rest of these guys are wimps.
I want to see Mary Kay in the cage, man.
Yeah, she'll be kicking some ass.
Kick some butt.
Are you ready for that, Mary Kay?
Sure, I'm ready for anything.
That's the way things are going, right? You've already been put through everything with this team. Mary Kay, I'm curious. You know, Shedeur did not like that question that he was asked in the press conference about what do you call it? It was about being aggressive, going for it. Did you think he just kind of misunderstood the question, or like what do you think happened there? Because I thought it was a perfectly fair question.
It was a perfectly fair question, and I didn't like the answer at all. So maybe let's give him the benefit of the doubt and think that perhaps he did misunderstand the question and didn't realize where Scott was going with that question, because that was really uncalled for him to answer it like that. And, we just don't need that. And I think the thing that we need to guard against with Shedeur is we don't want to get into a situation where he feels like he's at war with the Cleveland media. We had that with Baker Mayfield. We don't need that with Shedeur. So I think everybody needs to work together to make sure that doesn't start to happen. And it's hard because, Shedeur is such a lightning rod for criticism and those kinds of things. But I think it's really important for us all to try to work together to make sure that he understands where we're coming from and we understand what he needs and how we can all make this work where we can have just a functioning relationship. Yeah,
I agree. And like I said this yesterday, like clearly, especially in the national media, there have been some people that have, I think, been unfair to him at times. And there are some in the media that are over the top in defending him. And I don't think that's good. I think you got to cover everybody fairly, which you do, and I think most of the Browns beat reporters do. Now, you know Scott Petrak way better than I do. I know Scott a little bit. I've been there. I don't think I've ever heard Scott Petrak. People are saying, well, he asked a gotcha question. I don't think Scott Petrak has ever asked a gotcha question. That's not his style, but you know him better than me. So what do you say to that?
You're absolutely right about that. He is extremely professional, extremely smart. He knows how to do this job. He's been doing it for a long, long time. Yeah. And he is not a gotcha question guy at all. And there are some of those people that do exist in the world of sports media, but he is certainly not one of them. And it was a perfectly fair question. And I think if Shedeur went back and listened to the question again, he would realize that, that just could have been answered without the beginning part.
Right.
Mary Kay, we know Shedeur is going to start this week against Tennessee. What have you been told about what the Browns want to see more from Shedeur in his now second home start this weekend?
Well, I think he's got to get rid of the ball quicker. That's for sure. He really has to go through those progressions. And one of the biggest things that has to happen is he's got to develop some kind of trust and chemistry with Jerry Jeudy. We saw that they had the sideline confrontation, but these two guys have to get on the same page. They've got to get it together with each other. And I think what they need to do is spend extra time together this week. I think they need to just let go what happened the other day. We all know that stuff happens in the name of football. That stuff happens on football sidelines all the time, not always captured on camera. But those two guys need to get together this week. They need to text each other back and forth like Amari and Joe Flacco used to be doing all day long. Maybe they should watch some film together. I think that would be helpful. I think they need to talk and communicate. Jerry needs to talk about where he likes the ball placed. Shedeur has such elite accuracy and good ball placement that if Jerry asks for something, Shedeur can deliver that. So I think these guys just need to be very vocal about what they want and need from each other and try to make it work better going forward.
Mary Kay, do you think, obviously they've played very conservatively with Shedeur. There's clearly been guardrails on what they're letting him do at the moment. And that made a lot of sense, especially against San Francisco with the weather. But you're playing the worst team in football now in Tennessee. I know it's not going to be great weather, but it's not supposed to snow or be crazy windy as of now for this Sunday. Do you think they'll kind of loosen up a little bit and give him more of an opportunity to kind of see what he's got in this game?
Well, as the weeks go by, I think they need to do that. Each week, I think they'll probably open things up a little bit more. Again, as you mentioned, in this past game, it was not the time to really let it rip in the passing game because of the conditions. But if the weather is decent, then I think they will want him to push the ball downfield. I think that's important. And he does have to try to get his primary receivers a little bit more involved. I'm talking about not just Jerry Jeudy, but Said Tillman, David Njoku. I mean, you've got to have your big-time receivers, pass catchers out there contributing if you actually want to make this offense go. So I think that's going to be important, and I think that they will have a chance to give Shedeur a little bit more opportunity to show what he can do.
Mary Kay, with Maliek Collins down right now for the rest of the season, who do you think steps up in his place? How do they respond to this?
Well, they signed Sam Kamara to the active roster, and so that's one thing. And then Mike Hall will probably get some more snaps, and they do have a pretty deep tackle rotation, but Maliek Collins was playing at a Pro Bowl level, and it really is hard to replace him. It's going to take a committee to do that. So Sam will step in there. There will be more of Mike Hall, which is good. Coming off of that surgery, he needs to get out there a little bit more and play some more snaps. So I think that's a place where, you'll see that happen. And then, as I mentioned, Sam will be out there a little bit, and they'll just keep rolling those guys through there. And Shelby Harris has had a really nice season. So, Shelby will benefit and get a few more snaps himself.
Mary Kay, we've asked this question probably 50 times throughout the course of the season, but it seems like every week there's a new swinging momentum of whether it feels like Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are going to be safe this offseason, if they're going to get fired, if one's safe, if one's fired, if they're tied, if they're not. It's now week 14. What sense do you get on their future? Is it imperative for them to keep their jobs, that they need to win a few of these last games, or do they feel like they're operating under the mantra that regardless of the outcome of these last 4 or 5 games, they'll be safe heading into 2026?
I don't think anybody really knows the answer to that question. But when I look at this rookie class and see that it's the best rookie class that Andrew Berry has ever had, I really don't see him going anywhere by any stretch of the imagination. Jimmy Haslam asked him to nail this draft. He nailed this draft, and it's not even over yet because they still have a first-round pick from that Jaguars trade. So Andrew is going nowhere. I mean, I pretty much think you can take that to the bank. As far as Kevin is concerned, I do think that Kevin deserves a chance to see this thing through and see what he can do when he has the quarterback. They didn't have the quarterback this year. It's tough to win with a rookie quarterback and to have the upheaval that they have had this season. Look what happened in New York with Jackson Dart and Brian Daboll. He got fired. Look what happened in Tennessee with Cam Ward, a rookie quarterback. He got fired down there. Brian Callahan did. So this is very, very tough for a head coach to have to deal with this. And I think that he does deserve a shot to see this thing through. They've got the first layer of their second Super Bowl window in place right now. They're going to add to the pile to it next year. And they should be in good shape next season to contend for the playoffs if they can get good quarterback play. And Kevin, after everything he's been through with this team, with the Deshaun Watson thing, I think he should be able to reap the benefits of that. But you never know what an owner is thinking. They might want a new vibe, a new face, a new voice. I have no idea what Jimmy is thinking right now, but I certainly don't think Kevin should take the fall for this season.
Mary Kay, what's the bigger issue, coaching or talent with special teams right now?
Perhaps it is just a lot of young guys on the unit. It is so bizarre because we all know the reputation that Bubba Ventrone has with special teams and what he came in here with and what he's accomplished in his career. So I certainly don't think he's forgotten how to coach. I think it's, when you look at it, a lot of times it's a young guy making a mistake here or there, and that was certainly the case on Sunday with Gage Larvidan and Maliek Collins. But I also think they seem to be missing that enforcer guy on their special teams unit. They had Mike Ford, they've had guys like that in the past that just were the leader of the unit and got everybody together the way that Carson Schlesinger does with the defense right now. And it seems to me that they're just missing that special teams ace, and I believe that would help a lot.
Mary Kay, what was going on? Why did they decide to alternate drives with Wyatt Teller and Tevin Jenkins this past week? Is it because he was hurt?
No, it was because Kevin Stefanski has been watching the tape of Wyatt Teller and felt that he needed to take a little bit of a step back and alternate a little bit and see if he couldn't maybe improve his play. He was not grading out well. Right now he's about the 67th offensive guard in the NFL according to Pro Football Focus. And I think they just wanted to roll somebody else in there and see if they couldn't upgrade that position a little bit. So Wyatt is going to have to do what they need him to do once he comes off this calf injury and show a little bit more in the final games because his contract is up after this year. So if he wants to get an extension or come back here, he's probably going to have to play better.
Mary Kay, I saw you asked Harold Fannin on Zoom the other day about the 4th and 1 botched fumble snap, and he kind of alluded to maybe we should have called a timeout, maybe I should have called a timeout. In those situations, and I don't know if you're the one that has the exact answer here, but is that on the player to notice that all hell's kind of breaking loose, or does that have to be from the sideline, from the head coach noticing something's not right? It's such a crucial play in the game. We got to get this all situated.
Well, I think that's a tough situation to put your rookie tight end in who has never executed a QB sneak on 4th and 1 before. So I think that would have been a tough thing to put on him to make sure that he's the guy that calls the timeout in that situation. So somebody needed to bail him out of that. But I think the major problem with that play were the substitution issues because Jack Conklin was out. KT Leviston is usually in there as an extra blocker, and he was already in there as the right tackle. And so it was just a situation where they didn't know who was supposed to be on the field while it's going in and out, and time was a wasting. Harold put it on himself, but I think that he could have used some help there.
Mary Kay, I wanted to wrap it up going back in time because we had Brian Hoyer on yesterday. And Brian admitted something I think we all kind of knew, and maybe you've written about it in the past so many years ago, who can remember. But he said that, Mike Pettine had his hand forced in obviously benching him for Johnny Manziel at the time by either Ray Farmer or ownership, whatever it was. What did you think of Mike Pettine at the time? Because to me, he was the one coach before Stefanski, like every other coach the Browns had, I was like, this guy sucks, he sucks. I thought Pettine had a chance to be a decent coach. And that whole thing screwed him up. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I thought that he did have a chance to be a decent coach. And if you do go back into the annals of that time period, I was actually the person who broke the story that Kyle Shanahan wanted out because of Ray Farmer making phone calls down to the sidelines and dictating things. And that was just basically a mess. And the Browns got fined for it. It was a big, huge thing. Yeah. And Kyle ended up securing his way out of here. And that was a mess. The whole Johnny situation, Brian thing was a total dysfunctional mess. And I hope that as the Browns move forward, I hope they learn that quarterback drama needs to be kept at a minimum, if possible. You really want that situation to be calm and professional and have things running smoothly. And they certainly weren't doing that back in that era.
Certainly not.
Mary Kay, one last one real quick. We're looking forward to Tennessee. It's a battle of two teams that aren't very good right now, but the Browns have 2 more wins than the Titans. You think they get number 4 this weekend against the lowly Tennessee Titans?
I do think so. Yes, I do think so. We know that obviously they're 1-11, and the Browns defense is so good. So when you put the Browns defense up against a team like this, I really don't see any way that the Titans are going to win this game. I think they're going to take the rookie to school and show him what the NFL is all about. I think Myles Garrett is going to want to use this opportunity to get closer and closer to that single season sack record. And so I think they might just end up having their way with the Titans on Sunday.
I think there's a chance Myles could break the record this week.
He can.
Is an outside shot.
Oh yeah, he does have an outside shot.
Yeah,
so
4 sacks.
That's something to watch for.
Mary Kay, great stuff as always. Thank you for joining us. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mary Kay.
Sure, thanks guys.
Okay, Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland.com. Good chatting with her as always. She's very supportive of Stefanski and Berry. Obviously, I feel differently, but certainly makes I certainly understand her case. I think there's a stronger case at the moment for Andrew Berry than there is for Stefanski because Andrew Berry hit a home run in this draft this year. But even within that, drafting Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round to me is a disaster. But,
And they didn't take a tackle.
and they didn't take an offensive lineman. And they have no offensive lineman. And that's his fault. So. Anthony, we got a couple of super chats before Mary Kay. Before Aditi.
Yeah, we're still waiting on Aditi, but Jacob Gordon wants to know, Dustin, is there any truth to you interviewing for an Ignatius job?
0.
Is there a rumor about that?
I have no idea. I just read the super chats.
That is so funny. Where do you think that came from?
Would
I think
you?
he's just messing with me.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't. Why would?
You
I've never coached football in my life.
Coach. And you have no. It's not like you have a relationship with Ignatius. You didn't go to Ignatius.
No, dude.
My buddy's the freshman coach there. I could get you a word.
Like if there was a rumor about you going to what was your school, Canton?
Glen Oak.
Oh, Glen Oak. Then maybe I could buy it
Dude,
because at least you have a connection
you
there.
couldn't pay me enough to be a coach.
Oh, my
unless
God.
unless you wanted to give me like the, the Mark Stoops deal, where like you coach and then you get $54 million to go away.
Yeah, or well, how much? Yeah.
How about
right.
this coach at Michigan State, Jonathan
happened with
Smith?
it? Yeah.
What's funny is like I rarely watch the Big Ten now that
Yeah.
they're like not on ESPN anymore. They're
Yeah.
on, whatever. And Ohio State plays at the same time I do.
Yeah.
I don't play, but I do games. And I haven't seen Michigan State probably play in years.
Right. They're terrible.
I didn't really even know that Jonathan Smith was the head coach.
I don't even know who Jonathan.
He was the coach at
Smith
Oregon
is.
State.
His Oregon
Okay.
State coach.
Yeah, he was
He
a
just
good
got
coach there.
fired.
I don't think they won a conference game this year.
They didn't.
Yeah.
And they fired him, but he got paid. He was there 2 years.
Yeah.
$33 million.
God.
Like buyout.
Yeah. There's no better job in college
That's
football.
nuts.
No better job in the world than being a fired college football coach.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. It's just incredible. Brian
is
Kelly,
crazy.
good for you, buddy.
I have a friend
Yeah.
who works in the NBA who says his dream is to be a fired NBA head coach.
Yeah.
Like that's literally his dream.
And you can sit on your ass and collect your paycheck. Any more super chats?
Yeah, I got one more bull, and
Yeah.
it's for you. Frank
Oh.
wants to know if you're gonna stop bringing up the answer to Scott's question. He's the only person. You're the only person still talking about it. Stop dissecting everything that Shador says.
Okay. So number one,
You're a hater, man.
I brought it up because Mary Kay was on, and I know Mary Kay and Scott Petrak know each other very well, so I thought it was worth talking about. Mary Kay is part of the scrums. It would be irresponsible for me not to ask her about this ridiculous situation. Number two, I've been covering sports in Cleveland for 14 years, okay? 14 years plus. We have always parsed the language of every quarterback and every player on this team. That's part of the deal. Shador's not getting picked on. He's not getting picked on by me. If you think I'm picking on Shador, you're clueless. I am treating Shador fairly, just like I treat every other player. And when I like something he does, I've said it. When I don't like something he does, I don't. By the way, even though I didn't like his answer to that question, it's not like I went on here and I was killing him, saying, crushing him or anything. I said he handled that situation wrong. I'll stand by that. I know I'm right about that. If you disagree, that's fine. We'll leave it there. You got Aditi?
Yeah, an Aditi Say is brought to you guys by Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on, and if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories. Because Aura isn't your average picture frame, you can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when you plug it in, the memories are already there. There's no apps to figure out, there's no setup headaches, it's just instant smiles. I'm thinking about picking one up for my mom and loading it up with pictures of my nephew. And for a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling carver mat frames, rated #1 by Wirecutter. By using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout, that's auraframes.com, promo code LOCKEDON. This deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast, so order yours now and get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning them at checkout, and there you go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Aditi. Happy birthday to you. Hey!
Thank you. That's the first time I've been sung to today, actually.
What time?
How about that?
The first time?
The first time. No one's sang to me today.
What's happening in your house?
There's so much craziness. First of all, we have a virtual school day. My school district decided that the best birthday present for me would be to monitor virtual school. There's snow to be shoveled. I did go get a great workout in, though. I just haven't had time to shower. Sorry about that. But, I appreciate it, guys.
I like the shirt. Mike wanted to ask you how old you were. But
whoa.
I thought that was not appropriate.
Aditi, that is false. That is propaganda. Bull's been a hater.
You know what? But can I tell you this?
Yeah.
I remember when my mom started lying about her age, and I think she was like 37 and said she was 35. And I remember saying to her, what year do you want to pretend never happened? Like, is it the year I was born? Is it the year you married Dad? Like, why are you lying about this? And now I am there. Like, I don't want people to know how old I am. I just don't. I feel like age is an attitude, and it's what I convey. And do I convey the right energy and verve of someone who fits into what I'm trying to do? Then we're good.
Well, so what age do you think you convey? Let's ask that. What is your conveyance age?
Well, I feel like that's a better question for you guys. What age do I convey? Do I still seem young enough to make Trevor Lawrence laugh? Like, that's all that really kind of matters.
You've got you're energetic. You're spunky. I like that word. Spunky.
Spunky. That's a good one.
Though.
No, it's not an old person word. It's a word that an old person would use about a younger person.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But I like that word because sometimes I talk about my daughter being sassy, but she's not really sassy. She's spunky. She's got some moxie. So I like that word.
It's family.
I'll take it.
And you've got personality, most importantly, which is good for your job because there's a lot of people who do the job you do who, in my opinion, have no personality, or at least they don't show any personality on the air. So
she's already your friend, dude. I'm kidding.
Look at Dustin. He thinks it's all fake. You're not buying any of it, Dustin?
No, no. Bull just loves you, and he just wants to compliment you all day. Listen, I think
I feel like he's getting ready to argue with me. Whenever he builds me up like that, he's about to tell me I have a terrible take on something.
That's also true. So we know how old you are because Steve Becker, our producer, he's like Grok.
He texted us your age.
He looks up everything we say if we don't know.
All
the
right,
answer.
Steve, so not cool.
Not cool.
Not even remotely
not cool. You're right.
So with that being said, I won't reveal, but I will tell you because you know how old you are. You look 10 years younger than your age.
Look at that.
Well, at least.
Thank you. At least.
I like that.
At least
I am starting to get some white hairs. I will say that, though. Not that has anything to do with age.
That's what they make. That's why I use Just for Men in my beard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got myself like a crayon. This isn't it, but it's a crayon. And so I will occasionally ask my 6-year-old, can you just color like the one that is over here? Really? Although I was on the sideline. Yeah, I was on the sideline in Arizona 2 weeks ago. And when you're on a sideline, you have a security person with you and a runner. And the runner is someone who's just supposed to be like helpful, maybe bring you water if you need it. The runner was standing next to me and she starts like picking at my hair. And I was like, is there a fuzzy? Like, what's going on? And she's like, no, I see a white hair right here. And she goes, yank. Like on the football field, where if anybody caught video of this, there is a sideline reporter having a white hair yanked out of her head. You know what? The fact that I've never had to color it to this point, I feel like I should take that as a win.
Oh yeah, no, you look great.
It happens to everybody,
You look great. You look great. Age is just a number.
Dustin.
That's right.
It's a mentality.
I'm old as hell, and I feel like I'm 25 still, man.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, wait till you lose all that weight. You're gonna feel like you're.
I'm gonna feel like I'm 18. Exactly.
I mean, that'll change everything, right?
Absolutely.
I'm having surgery in February. Did I tell you?
You did tell me. We talked about it on the phone. Actually, I'm very impressed. Proud.
Well,
of
I
you.
haven't done anything yet. Don't be impressed yet. So let's get to some sport.
Well,
we could just bull crap all day, really. But let's talk.
We could, sure.
Okay. I won't ask about Shedeur Sanders' reaction to Scott Petrak's question because people will get bothered and angry with me. So I'll just ask you.
I missed it. You'll have to fill me in. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry. It's not
monitoring virtual schooling.
I want to know.
Okay.
I know you weren't obviously at the Browns game, but through 2.5 games? What's your feeling about what you've seen from Shedeur Sanders?
From the very beginning, I've said I really like his personality. And I think you're getting to see that. You're seeing his confidence, the demeanor on the sideline. I mean, I'll go back to that very first preseason game that I did with him in Carolina, and the very first drive went bad. And I remember doing a live hit that, okay, he's calm, he's this, he's that, so I'm not surprised by the poise. I do think that the coaching staff is doing a really, really good job of keeping things simple for him so that he can play fast. Meaning that, and this is what we say in football all the time. I'll tell you that we've said this about the Jaguars defense the last few weeks, where they suffered an awful loss and the defensive coordinator took everything down to the studs and said, instead of having one of their players Andrew Wingard gave us this analogy. He said, instead of the instead of, wait a minute, why can I not think of the place? What's a Cheesecake Factory. Instead of the Cheesecake Factory menu, we're down to a McDonald's menu. Okay. But because it's a McDonald's menu, everybody is able to play so fast, fly to the ball, play with a personality, a physicality. So it's not an insult to say that the menu isn't huge. It's actually saying, hey, you're doing things that this quarterback can have confidence in, that his teammates can have confidence in. You are playing to his strengths. You're not asking too much of him. And that's all good. That's how you keep building. That's how you grow. And so I think all of that is really positive. At the end of the day, every quarterback is going to tell you that it's the wins that matter. That tremendous video that his brother put out, that Shedeur's brother put out on Thanksgiving, where his mom is asking for touchdowns and his brother is asking for passing yards and Shedeur keeps interrupting. It's about the win. It's about the win. Like, don't you love that? And that, at the end of the day, is what you would like to see more of. But again, when you have a rookie quarterback, you want to see some growth. You want to see some progress. You have to accept it's never going to be linear like this. Come on, I just had Cam Ward. Cam Ward was coming off arguably his best performance of the year against Seattle, a top-notch defense, and then unfortunately looked terrible against the Jaguars. Yeah. That's what happens. Yep. Go ask Peyton Manning about his rookie year. I mean, I remember Peyton Manning telling me last year, thank goodness Bill Parcells wasn't his coach because he would have been yanked after a few weeks. You have to have patience. So great that you're getting to see that. Great job on the coaching staff to try to play to his strengths and continue to see growth. Great. You talked about spunk. Great personality. You want to see some of that. So let's see what other growth we can keep seeing.
I want to come back to Cam Ward because obviously he's playing the Browns defense this week. But about that Browns defense, Aditi, have you ever seen a defensive player dominate in the fashion Myles Garrett is dominating right now? And with the fact that you just saw Tennessee and J.C. Latham is going through his own issues on that offensive line, do you think there's a chance he can break the sack record this Sunday at home against the Titans? Needs 4.
He needs 4. It's certainly a possibility. I am about to be interrupted because, excuse me, everybody. Virtual schooling, everyone. Okay. Excuse me. I apologize for, can you say I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting.
That was the cutest I'm sorry ever.
Yeah, that's the Browns fan for you. Clearly has no manners whatsoever. But anyway.
Myles
Myles is playing out of his mind. And the respect that you are seeing. Did you guys just see the mic'd up where Christian McCaffrey is calling him, saying what a pleasure it is to watch him play, where Trent Williams is saying greatest of all time? Yeah. And to play this way, I'll tell you, I had this unbelievable conversation with Joe Burrow a year ago where Joe felt like he was playing the position of quarterback better than he ever had in his life, but the results weren't following. And he acknowledged and he admitted that coming to work on Monday, going and getting those lifts in, putting in the same sort of work when the results aren't coming, to not have the same impact on his team that he'd always had when he's playing the position better than maybe he even thought was possible, was really, really difficult. And he talked very openly with me about the mental challenge of having to keep bringing it when your team isn't winning. And I think that that's what I'm admiring most about Miles right now, because there is no let up. He very easily could be sitting here and saying, why am I doing this? He could very easily be getting down, getting frustrated. Instead, he's saying, I'm controlling what I can control, and I'm going to bring every single thing that I possibly can bring. It's not easy to do that. I'm telling you, as someone who works in a team environment as well, Dustin, you know this, like your play-by-play, your reporter, your producer, your director, the game that you have, all of that affects what you bring, and yet to be able to say, I'm still going to bring my best and tune everything else out, there's something to that. And I told you guys a year ago, it was really hard to give him my defensive player of the year vote because of what the team was doing. It's not going to be hard this year. No. I mean, clearly, who's even approaching him?
Nobody.
Who's even approaching him? Yeah. The way that he is affecting every game, the load that he is, the fact that the Browns are in the games they're in are because of him. Let's be honest.
Oh, 100%.
The Browns' special teams are so bad right now. I mean, early in the year,
what is going on?
Situation with the kicker, right? Never have an issue with our punter, but then now it's the coverage units. It's the return game. It's guys making poor decisions about where to return the ball and stepping out of bounds and fumbles and this and that and the other. Who do you blame?
You know, it's interesting you say this. So the last Browns game I had was the Jets game, where there was the kick return for a touchdown, the punt return for a touchdown, and they never had a chance after that. My analyst and I had an interesting conversation about this just within the last few weeks, because we've seen teams that are penalized a lot. And when teams make so many mental errors, is that coaching? Is that how things are drilled and what things are focused on, or what the focus is? Or on some level, is that the Jimmies and the Joes? I mean, is that the guys that are out there, and are they bringing it? They're NFL players. There is a standard. Can you meet that standard? Dustin, you can answer that much better than I can, because I honestly, genuinely don't know. Is it the guys that are out there? On some level, yes, you are held to a standard, but you're not getting cut. Like, who else are you being replaced by? So is it incumbent upon you to do your job, to bring your best, the same way that we're talking about Myles Garrett, or is there some sort of disconnect in the teaching? And I have a really hard time blaming the teaching when you think about the fact that Bubba Ventrone, his entire career, has been considered one of the best special teams coordinators out there and has had so much success. Did he just wake up and forget how to coach a few weeks ago? I don't think that that's it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't think it's necessarily the coaching, but, there is a certain level of guys have to be worried that they're going to get cut and that they're going to lose their job if they don't perform. And if you got guys just going through the motions, and then all of a sudden on game day they go out there and they go through the motions and they're half-assing it, well, this is what happens. And Bubba ends up taking the brunt of, and I'm not saying Bubba's not to blame for some of this, because obviously you're the coach of this. I mean, you're the head of the organization in terms of the operation, in terms of the special teams. So he definitely has to take some blame. But I know this much, man, when I was running down on kickoffs or whatever, I was running down like this, my paycheck depends on this.
And that's the point, Dustin. That's exactly it, right? And this is exactly what I was saying about Miles. Are you still giving your all? Do you recognize that even if you're not in the playoff hunt, you're fighting for your future? What you are putting on film, whether it's for this team next year or it's for another team, this is your future. You are auditioning to keep your job with every single snap. And I just don't know if that's being made clear. You shouldn't have to make that clear, right? And even beyond that, it's funny because there's a young player on the Titans who I'm very, very, very impressed by. I watched this guy this week. His name is Kevin Winston Jr., KJ. He's a kid out of Penn State playing safety. And in fact, Denard Wilson, the Titans defensive coordinator, can you give me a minute, please? Now, this is my Bills fan writing me a message. I will ask when I'm done. Please stop interrupting.
Nico.
Let's go,
Goodness.
Buffalo.
Come here. Come and say hi. Come say hi to Mr. Adam.
Hi, Nico. How you doing,
that's
man?
the right
You got
jersey.
big.
That's the right jersey.
Yeah, he's wearing this to gloat for all his friends today. You know, because apparently there was a lot of trash talk in school the last time he saw his friends. But
Yeah, the Bills
there you
killed
go.
the Steelers. You crushed them.
They did. They did.
Which I
And
like.
now we have a third person. Okay. Can I just please finish, guys? Give me a few minutes. All right. So, in any case, Kevin Winston Jr.,
Yeah.
Denard Wilson, the Titans defensive coordinator, compared him to Kyle Hamilton, which is like, this kid has all the potential. And I said to Winston, I said, is it hard to come into the building when you just can't win? And he said, I get to play in the National Football League. If I need a pep talk to come in this building and to put on my uniform, I shouldn't be playing the game. And I think that the Browns need some more players who espouse that sort of attitude. It is a blessing to get out there every single week. You are so lucky to get to do this. I don't want to see any of this, to use your phrasing, any of your half-assing. And I see, and I'm not saying this about the Browns, but I see it on sidelines. I see the way Jeffrey Simmons is on a sideline, and he hasn't given up. He is still running down that sideline when his offense is doing well. He's not sitting with his head in his hands. You need a team of guys like that. It's about culture. And so you worry when you see young special teams players not giving it their everything, Dustin. And I think you're raising a really good point, and that's where it comes back to not necessarily coaching, but Jimmy's and Joe's.
Absolutely.
Aditi, the last thing here, you know, the NFL, one of the many reasons why it's the most popular sport is because of the competitive balance, and you don't have to be from a big market to be successful. And we're seeing that balance this year more than ever. The Chiefs are out of the playoffs right now. The Bills are barely in there. The Lions are out of the playoffs right now. The Rams have been great. Nobody expected that. Seattle's been great. Chicago is the 1 seed in the NFC. The 1 seed in the AFC is what?
New England.
Oh, yeah, New England. And then Denver is
New England.
2. I think Jacksonville's the 3. Like, these are all surprising things. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm enjoying the, you know, it feels like there's no favorite. You could pick, I think, 12 teams that can win the Super Bowl, maybe more.
Which I agree with you.
Yeah.
I love. I love
Yeah.
chaos in general. But I'll also tell you what I really love. How many of those teams that you mentioned are playing outstanding defense and running the ball really well?
Oh, boy.
I mean,
we go. Here we go with the
old school
defensive
football.
running propaganda.
But is it propaganda or is it not? I mean, look at what those teams are doing, and you've got to love it. I mean, I love it. Okay. I think that if you can start with your run game, and especially this time of year, as I'm looking outside at all this snow, and I know in Cleveland this won't be an issue in a few years when that dome gets built, but there's still a lot of outdoor football played in December and January. Is that what Cleveland looks like right now?
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
wow.
ugly.
This is, here, I'll show you guys. This is my backyard right now.
Yeah,
Can you
you
see?
got plenty of snow. A lot of snow there, a lot of snow here.
Yeah.
It's that time of the year, unfortunately. It is what?
It
Who do you
is,
think
it
is the
is.
best team right now? If you had to pick, it's tough.
Patriots.
The Patriots are getting, so the Denver defense, I like way more. The Patriots are getting outstanding quarterback play.
Yes, they are.
And I feel like I believe in Drake May more than I do in Bo Nix at the moment.
Agreed.
But I love how hard-nosed both of those teams are. And Vrabel and Sean Payton are similar in the way that they push their guys. And culturally, what's happening. I mean, the Patriots' jump is unbelievable from a year ago. Really, truly. And so much of it is culture again. So much of it is bringing in a guy like Harold Landry to be the translator for what it is that Mike Vrabel wants and the way that those guys fight.
Aditi, great stuff. Enjoy your birthday.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Thanks for the song.
And we will talk to you soon.
And thank you for the compliments. I'll take them. Dustin,
Good.
I appreciate
You got it.
All those
We'll see you later.
Don't sell me out. I don't need that number.
28-year-old Aditi's
we won't sell you out.
Aditi.
We won't mention your age. We'll keep it a secret.
Bye, guys.
See you later. All right, we got to talk about the Cavs here. We haven't talked about the Cavs because I got a lot to say. You guys got a lot to say. Anthony, you got to read, or should we just get right to it?
No, Mike's going to pitch his Ultimate Cavs show tomorrow, and then we can get right into it.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, not tomorrow. This afternoon, Jason and I, 3:30, going to talk a little more Cavs. We're going to do Cavs for the next 15 minutes to end the show.
Yeah.
And then Jason and I are going to dive a little more in depth into some of the X's and O's stuff we saw in the win against Indiana today at 3:30.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys tune in. Jason and I, 3:30, Ultimate Cavs show, coming to you right here on the UCSS YouTube page.
All right. My new favorite player, guys, Jaylon Tyson. First, he did what nobody does in the NBA by telling the rest of the team to shut up or to work, play harder.
Can I set it up?
Set it up,
in case
please.
anyone
Go ahead.
missed
I
it?
screwed up. Go ahead.
So, on Sunday,
Yeah.
the Cavs played the shorthanded Celtics and ended up losing. And after the game, Evan Mobley, with a really good game, spoke first. And Evan said, we just got to find ways to play better for 48 minutes. We go through these spurts, and then we have low energy. We go through spurts. But Evan is kind of quiet. He doesn't say a lot, so when Evan talks, it's like, it's Evan Mobley. You listen, but it doesn't have a big impact. And Donovan, historically, since he's been here, has talked after every game. But on Sunday, Donovan was in the corner of the locker room watching another game on his phone, and they brought Jaylon Tyson up to speak with us. And Jaylon Tyson's a second-year guy. It's their first-round pick last year.
Didn't play much last year.
Didn't play much, been in and out of the lineup this year, just came back from a concussion. Had a really good game against Boston, for what it's worth. He took the most field goal attempts on the team. So it wasn't a shock that he was one of the guys talking, but it was interesting at first that he was the guy coming up and not Donovan. And Jaylon, and I'm standing 2.5 feet away, as close as Dustin is to me right now is how close I am to Jaylon, who's usually a jubilant, upbeat, high-energy guy. You can tell was frustrated. And I did the one-on-one with Jaylon before this, or a couple weeks ago. Like, I know Jaylon pretty well, so you could tell something was not right. And the first question Serena Winters asked him, Jaylon responded with, and I forget how exactly how she worded the question, but he essentially said, we're playing on cruise control right now. We can't do that. We haven't proven anything yet to make us think we could play on cruise control throughout the regular season and just flip a switch. It can't just be on the bench guys to bring the energy. It has to be a full team effort. It's the second-year guy.
That's a ballsy comment.
Second-year guy.
Want the full quote? I have the full quote.
Oh, yeah, I made the graphic. Yeah, I will read you the exact quote. So this is what Jaylon Tyson said, and I quote, I just think we're in cruise control as a team. I think that we're not hungry enough. What happened to us last year, it's a similar thing that's happening this year. Getting ran out the gym, getting beat on the glass, toughness, right? So, I mean, it's just kind of a common theme, and ultimately it's on us to fix it. Later in the interview, he said, we could sit here and say we're frustrated. We're all professionals here. We just got to do our job. Everybody's got to do their job, right? We see it. We talk about it over and over again. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, and then we just don't execute. So that's on us. We got to find a way to win these games.
I love it. I wonder how some of the veterans on this team react because he torched every veteran on this team.
Yep. I have a theory.
Yeah. You think Donovan told him to say that?
Me speculating.
Yeah.
It was interesting Donovan did not talk.
Yeah.
Donovan has echoed similar sentiments to that in the past. This season, he's said enough of times where we can't be up and down. Donovan said, I like the process. It's not always good to be 16-0. Like, you got to go through these ups and downs. I think Donovan, once again, I'm not reporting, this is just speculation.
Yeah.
I think Donovan had enough of, you guys aren't listening to me.
Yeah.
I've said this time and someone else has to.
Who is this directed at specifically?
I think everybody that's not named Donovan is a veteran on the team. I genuinely think I think everyone else on the team, not named Donovan Mitchell, falls under that bucket. And Kenny Atkinson, after the game last night, they beat Indiana, and Jaylon Tyson, by the way, said that on Sunday.
Yeah.
went out and had 27 points, a career high.
Love it.
Last night.
He said, not only am I going to call you out, I'm going to back up it.
How
I'm going to
about
back it
11
up.
rebounds. How about 10 of 13 from the floor? The best game of his young career he backed it up with. Donovan also, by the way.
Had a huge game.
A 40-burger last night.
Yeah.
Kenny texted him before the game, said, I need you to score 40, scored 43. But I think, and Kenny also said post-game that he loved the fact that Jaylon did this. And he said,
I'm glad they asked him
the
about
young
it.
guys don't fall into this category. The young guys have brought the energy. He mentioned Craig Porter Jr., Naquan Tomlin, Jaylon Tyson as guys.
Yeah.
That he doesn't put in the bucket of lacking energy and not bringing it on a night-to-night basis. He threw everyone else in the other bucket, including all the veterans. And he didn't say Donovan wasn't included, but Kenny said all the veterans have fallen in this bucket where on a night-to-night basis, they're not bringing enough energy. They're not playing with enough, he didn't say heart and passion, but they're not bringing enough on a night-to-night basis to where we're 12-9, 13-9 after the win last night, that we're happy with that. And the fact that Jaylon called him out, second-year guy. Oh, by the way, it's his 23rd birthday today. Jaylon Tyson and Aditi Kinkhabwala share a birthday. So happy birthday, Jaylon.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know that Jaylon Tyson's brother is going to be the best receiver
in the draft
coming up?
I didn't know.
Yeah,
Jordan Tyson, Arizona State.
First-round pick, yeah.
First-round pick.
The fact that he called them out and then came out last night and delivered the game he did,
Yeah.
I just think ups his standing in that locker room tenfold.
No doubt. You think there's any players that are pissed right now? I don't care
No,
personally.
you know what?
I get the sense that the way he presents this and also just his kind of demeanor. I'm looking at his personal life background. Like he's got three brothers who are football.
Yep.
Two brothers that are football players.
By the way,
Dad played football.
he was
older brother's a strength coach at South Alabama.
And he was a football player
right.
until he got too tall. That's why I stopped
Point
playing.
is, like, he's got a dad who's a football player, brother's strength coach, former football player, younger brother's a stud. Like, he came up in a family where they probably pushed each other.
Yeah.
Give him more minutes, man. He's got the football mentality.
Right.
I like it. I want this guy to play. He's my new favorite player on the Cavs. I want to see him out there all the time.
Right now,
let's go. Give him the minutes.
In my opinion, if everybody's healthy, you can't put him lower than 7th in the rotation.
No, absolutely.
He has to be a guy when everyone's healthy. I don't care veteran status. Jaylon Tyson has to be a guy that's playing 20
and by the way,
like
if you say something like that, he put his
Yeah.
cojones out there.
Put his balls on the table.
He now has to bring it every night.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. And the first night he had a chance,
brought it.
Double-digit rebounds. How tall is he?
6'5".
You getting double-digit rebounds at 6'5"?
He might
and
be.
Donovan had like 8 rebounds last night.
Donovan had an incredible game.
Yeah.
Tyson might be their best or second best perimeter defender.
Yeah.
I would make the case he's their best rebounding guard. Donovan has nights where he's can rebound, but on a night-to-night basis.
I mean, averaging 5 rebounds a game when he doesn't play a crazy amount of minutes.
He did start a bunch of games early.
Yeah, that's true. But overall for the season, like, what's his rebounds per 48 minutes? It's got to be really good.
And you can look it up on Pro Basketball Reference. Jaylon brings an element to this team that you need.
Yeah.
And without Max Strus in particular, because Strus, when healthy, brings the same kind of frenetic energy. It's chaos in a good way. The crazy. Jaylon's not a guy you want to mess with, by the way. Like,
I like it.
And part of the reason I think it may have pissed some people off, but also may not have pissed some people off, is nothing he said was wrong. First and foremost, if you're gonna say something like that, you got to stand on it and you have to be right. Like it's not smart business for a young player to make a statement like that if A, it's not
wrong.
true.
Oh yeah,
and B, if he's not capable of then going out and doing it himself, and Jaylon did it, and he's right, so he checks all 3 boxes.
Do you think this was in particular directed at Mobley and Allen more than anybody else, or no?
No.
Okay.
No. And especially considering Mobley had an incredible game on Sunday.
Yeah,
like it would have been weird that may have been Mobley's best game of the season to then say right after.
All right.
And the other thing is, like, nobody stood up to him and gave him a hard time about it, which tells you he's right.
No.
Yeah.
And once again, Donovan was, we're sitting in the studio. The studio's not big. Jaylon's talking here. Donovan's standing right there watching the game.
Probably like this.
Yeah.
No, he was watching the game.
No, I know, but he's probably watching it, but he's also kind of ears.
And,
know
what's
going on.
I get the sense, knowing the Cavs personally a little bit like I do.
Yeah. Are Donovan and Tyson friends?
Yeah.
Like,
enough.
do they hang out?
You think there's a chance that Donovan's like, yo, Jaylon, you have my permission to go do this?
I think
Yeah.
I think Donovan loved the fact that he said it, and I think Kenny loved it. Knowing Kenny,
100%.
I think Kenny was thrilled. Because Kenny, if you listen to his post-game press conferences, even pre-game, he's still awesome with us, with the media. He's got a different tone this year than he had last year. Like, you could tell he's frustrated with some of the things.
Yeah, because they're not playing with the same intensity.
And he's gone out of his way to not call out anyone individually, but talk about how they haven't been good enough. They haven't coached good enough. There are certain things within the structure of what they want to do from both an offensive and a defensive side that haven't been up to par.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, it's a process. Like, they had one possession last night against Indiana. They played incredible defense for 23.7 seconds. And then Andrew Nebhart hit a 33-foot three at the buzzer.
Yeah.
The process was terrific, right? So a lot of the things that Kenny says is, we have to trust the process. We've changed a lot. It's a work in progress. But the progress that we're making is taking way too slow for us to be where we need to be to win a championship or to compete for a championship. Yeah. And I have a gut feeling, and I haven't talked to anyone.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people in that coaching staff, in the locker room and on the coaching staff, that could not have been happier with Jaylon for, frankly, having the balls to say what he said. Because it takes a lot. It does. You've been in the locker room before. For a young guy to say that, that's not easy.
By the way, can I throw one other thing in here that has nothing to do with the Cavs? I got to say.
Is it the rest thing?
No, we'll say that.
Say that, because I just want to hear Dustin say that.
All right, go ahead. Tell me what you were going to say there.
For a young guy to say that, like, what does that do for a young guy in a locker room situation like that, Dustin?
What does it do for him, or what does it say about him?
Say about him, yeah.
Well, it says he's obviously very confident in himself, and he's confident in his place on the team. Like, he knows the guys better than we do. Like, he knows what he's going to say. Like, I wouldn't, for instance, Minnesota, where I was drafted, right, in 2005. I was a rookie. I wouldn't have said a word on that team, because even though they were, like, not the best guys, and I probably could have said something. I wouldn't.
It was your spot.
I'm smart, and I knew my role, and I think he sort of knows his role, and he understood he has an opportunity. And I do think Donovan said something to him to get him to engage the conversation and bring it up. It empowered him, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. If Donovan was involved, I mean, clearly he felt strongly about it. It wasn't like Donovan just out of the blue said, "Hey, Jaylon, I need you to say this." Or,
by the way, Jaylon went to Donovan and said, "Hey, man,
that's certainly possible.
I think we need to be tougher, man. What do you think?"
Absolutely.
And Donovan's probably like, you know what? Why don't you say something?
Yeah, rip the team. Let's go.
So. Donovan said both, because I got Donovan's comments from last night.
I was saying to Mike before the show that I am a very big fan of Dillon Brooks, who everybody hates.
I heard you when I was walking to the bathroom. You were talking about it.
Because he's the only one that doesn't, like, not the only one, but, like, so many players in the NBA, it seem like, or the league and the media kiss LeBron's ass so much. And I get it. LeBron's awesome. He's one of the all-time greats.
And he's got all these handlers and stuff. Like, I've heard guys talk about this. Maybe it was Pat Bev or one of the podcast guys. It was talking about how he's like, you don't talk about LeBron. Like, you'll get a phone call. Or someone meet you in a back alley. I
love that Dillon Brooks is not afraid of LeBron.
He's not afraid at all.
And he said, I read a quote from him. He's like, guys are too friendly. Has that old. Listen, I get he's not a great player, whatever. He's just a good player. And LeBron doesn't. LeBron can say whatever he wants. He totally gets under LeBron's skin.
100%.
Drives him crazy. He hates the guy. He'll pretend he doesn't care, but he 100% cares. LeBron is very sensitive. There's no doubt about it. He's bothered by all this stuff. And Dillon Brooks is like, I don't want to be friends. I'm going to talk trash. And what are you going to do about it? He don't care. And I love that.
I found what Donovan said post-game, and it ties back to the Jaylon Tyson.
Go ahead.
So he was asked afterwards by Serena Winners, and by the way, Don
yesterday.
After last night's game, the win. And he had 43 points. He was 16 of 27 from the floor.
Yeah.
Asked about the game. Quote, honestly, this is what we should be doing. I don't think this is anything to celebrate. We should be coming out here doing this all the time, and that's what's disappointing about our last 3 games. She followed up, what was the biggest difference? Ready?
Yeah.
Quote, energy, effort, and we competed. End quote.
Yeah, right.
If that's not a direct response and/or add-on to what Tyson said, you find me an easier way to connect the dots.
Yeah. So, maybe Jaylon Tyson got them going.
I wonder, I didn't think of this till right now.
How much you love Dillon Brooks?
No, that's nothing. But if Donovan did go to Jaylon, or if they had any kind of communication, or even if Jaylon went rogue and decided to do this on his own, this is a team with a ton of veterans. And you got a second-year guy stepping up and taking on a leadership role to where he feels the necessity to say what he said. I don't know if it's more of a, that's awesome for Jaylon, and that's great to see a 23-year-old taking that responsibility this early on in his career.
It's also a negative.
Or if it's a negative that other guys who are more veteran, have more status in this league, who don't or haven't taken that approach yet. And I honestly don't know. I'm just kind of thinking through this as we go. I kind of lean towards it's more of a positive for Jaylon than a negative on others, but I think you can make a case that it goes both ways at the same time.
I would love to know the reality of do players, like what percentage of players care about winning every game? You think every player cares?
Well,
I think you care
during
about,
the regular season.
Yes, I think you absolutely want to win every night, but I also think that there's a part of you that can accept. There's so many games.
Yeah.
It doesn't eat you up inside the way that like a football loss would.
Right.
You know.
Okay,
what I mean?
that makes sense.
Do you remember when Donovan first got here? And Jason, I believe, wrote it on. He's mentioned this on the show numerous times. He asked Don, would you ever punt at the end of the game to see other guys take over in the fourth quarter?
Right.
And Don said in his first year here, no, I got to win every game.
Right.
And then later, and last year in particular, Jason asked that same follow-up, and he said, we got to see what some guys can do late. Yeah. So that's at least Donovan's mindset into that, which is...
Yeah, that's different, though, because Donovan still wants to win. I wonder if there's some players in any sport that just don't even care. It's probably not a lot, but I bet you there are some.
Probably.
There has to be.
Right?
They're getting paid a ton of
there
money.
are some guys that probably don't like their position on the team. They don't like the coach. They don't like their teammates. And maybe they don't love the game. Maybe they've burnt out on playing basketball or football or whatever it may be. And to them, it's just a check.
Yeah.
You know, just like we've been in jobs in our lives or in situations where you're 1 foot in the parking lot.
Absolutely. It's funny when I remember one year, my first year calling games in Batavia, at the end of the season, our team won like the last 12 games to make the playoffs. And this is A-ball. You know, like, it doesn't really matter if you win a champion. Like, guys are there.
It's all about development.
Guys are there to get better. But during that winning streak, all the players were really into it. They wanted to make the playoffs. Sure. They didn't want the season to end. And we had this one guy on our team who never went anywhere, not surprisingly, above A-ball. I can't even think of his name. I probably wouldn't even say it, but
just a Debbie Downer.
He was a pitcher, and he flat out told me he didn't care. He wanted to go home at the end. He was ready to be done, and he wanted to go home, and he didn't care if they won. He wasn't I don't think purposely trying to lose or
wasn't sabotaging it.
Yeah.
But he didn't care. Like, all the other guys were excited. There was this energy about this win streak at the end of the season. And what's funny is the team ended up making the playoffs. And who did we lose to in the playoffs to get knocked out? CC Sabathia.
Damn.
In 1999. Anyway.
Last thing, Cavs have 3 more home games this week. They're home Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. They got the Blazers on Wednesday. They got the Spurs on Friday with no Wemby.
Yeah.
And they got the Warriors and probably no Steph Curry on Saturday. So.
Yeah, and that's...
And they're both hurt. They're both actually hurt.
I get it. You know, it's funny. When the Cavs are playing the Warriors every year, obviously that was, our heyday on Bull and Fox, and I hated Steph Curry.
I love him now.
I feel the same way. He's one of my favorite players.
I love
so fun to watch.
everything about him now.
Love him. He's one of the most he seems like, and who knows what the truth is, but he seems like such a nice guy.
Like just a sweetheart.
He
everyone at the arena, I think, love him. I think he treats everyone so well.
Yeah.
He takes care of his guys. I think he takes care of the people at the arena.
Yeah.
I like the fact that, he had a falling out with Under Armour. So he's doing this whole thing, and I'm a big sneakerhead. So I follow this because he's wearing different shoes every night. Like, he's paying homage to former, like Sabrina Ionescu was at his game, so he wore her shoes in the game.
Yeah.
Like, just cool stuff like that.
I bought a pair of her shoes, wore them for the first time last night.
Yeah.
How do they feel?
Got to break them in a little bit, but incredibly light, good traction.
I got the new Ja 3s. They're comfy.
The Ja, I had Ja's as my last 2 shoes.
Ja 3s.
Ja 3s.
Little upgrade.
I got to say, if I had my chance, and I know I'll probably people be pissed at this, but if I could hang out with LeBron or hang out with Steph Curry, I'd rather hang out with Steph Curry.
100%. I think LeBron...
He seems like a nicer guy.
Yeah, I don't think LeBron presents himself ever as authentic.
And again, maybe
you know what I'm saying?
Maybe the reality is that Curry's not either. But yes, it feels like...
Yeah, but you don't hear bad things about Steph. You hear stories about LeBron.
Nothing terrible.
LeBron's not a bad guy.
No.
But I don't think he's authentic. I don't think he's someone that I would want to hang out with.
I have heard he's a bad tipper.
Well, that tells you all you need to know about someone's character.
I don't know.
And we got
Who knows what the truth is?
No
a lot of
super
people
chats.
have heard that about bad tippers. We did the super chats along the way, and then we had none for the end of the show.
You want a pat on the back?
Actually got all of our Cavs in, which was nice.
Yeah, we got a full Cavs segment too.
Yeah, and I am very frustrated by the NBA and the fact that. So as much as I hate Draymond Green, I do respect the fact, and he goes over the top. But for this, I do like that doesn't want to be friends with everybody on the court. Now he says stuff in his podcast where you don't know what he's talking about, like when he comments about other sports, and he said something about baseball once. It was so stupid. Maybe it's about Ohtani. I don't even remember what it was, but I was like, oh, this guy's an idiot. He don't know what the hell he's talking about. I can't remember what it was, but I heard. Did you see Stan Van Gundy or Jeff Van Gundy or Stan?
Stan
said the best players in NBA history have all played in the last 20 years. That's just ridiculous.
Well, he was talking about the evolution of the game, and just guys are more skilled and talented than they were in the past. He said Jokic is the best offensive player in the history of humanity.
Hey, real quick.
Everybody played with different rules. It's not an apples to apples comparison.
That's what he's saying, though. He's like,
It was almost a different sport back then.
Yeah.
What was
James
that,
Mace just sent in a super chat to say that if the starters aren't playing with enough energy, put them on the bench and play the young players too.
Absolutely.
Our Cavs conversation.
Yeah. Especially now, send the message. If you don't like the energy from the players,
I agree with
bench
that.
guys.
I agree with
Yeah.
that.
That's it. You know?
Jared Allen barely plays in the fourth quarter anymore. Barely.
What's he doing in the fourth quarter?
I mean, I think he averages 3 minutes per fourth quarter, which is 8th on the team.
Yeah.
He's gotten the hook.
All right, we'll see you on Overtime for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
We're going to debate which NFL head coach will win the Royal Rumble.
Oh.
I think we have fun with this.
Oh.
Peace.